Yo, what's happening, people? Welcome back to the Tiki Taka podcast, where you're going to hear hot takes, unbiased opinions, and hopefully have a couple laughs along the way.
Yes.
And hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode last week. It was a long episode. It did take a while to edit, but I couldn't take much of the Arsenal stuff out, man.
It's too good,
Players needed their praise, and if you do see, if you're watching the video and you do see us looking up, we have got the Real Madrid Leipzig game on in the background.
Yeah.
Obviously, Champions League is back, so needed to make sure we were watching one of these games. And definitely wasn't going to be City because I feel like we already know what's going to happen in that one. But yeah, Michael, I was going to say our top 10 worst Man United transfers is now one of our best performing episodes.
Is it?
Yeah, on Spotify and YouTube.
I think United fans actually don't give us enough. I feel like we turned them around. Ever since we did top 10 worst transfers, the form shot up.
Yeah,
they're moving through the
goals. That's what we wanted.
I think he listens to the pod. I think he listens to the pod.
Someone must.
I was saying be more involved in games.
Yep.
He heard the call.
And that's what he's doing. But I do think we will need to do, and you've already mentioned this to be fair, but we will need to do top 10 worst Arsenal transfers.
There's a lot of good stuff in there.
In terms of being fair.
Yeah. You've had a lot of stinkers.
And one guy who some people might put on the list, I'm not sure I'd put him on the list, just won AFCON this weekend, Nicolas Pepe. And we're going to start there because Ivory Coast, the host nation, as a certain someone predicted on this show.
True.
Came through in the final. And the whole story of Ivory Coast, they seem to grab late goals in every round of the tournament. I think we mentioned it last week that they sacked their manager. For those who don't know, they sacked their manager.
Because they thought they were out.
Yeah, they finished third, so they weren't sure if they were going through. And yeah, in terms of the final, I watched the game. And Nigeria, I think up until the final, they hadn't conceded an open play goal.
Okay.
Or something.
So
they were building a lot based off their defense.
Yeah.
And once they took the 1-0 lead, they obviously just tried to hold it out. And the way Nigeria played that final, I can't lie, was nasty.
And I think the problem Nigeria had was they took the goal. It's not like they scored in the 80th minute with 10 minutes to go or something.
Exactly.
Like,
but the way they played,
that's how they was playing. And I don't know how much. And I agree with you. I think that the way Nigeria played was nasty after they went ahead, especially. Yeah. It was a bit back and forth when it was level, but Nigeria thought, one goal, that's enough.
Yeah.
That's how they was thinking. And I was like, I don't know how much, not that they underestimated Ivory Coast, but like how much do you think the stadium and the fans and all of that play into it? Are Nigeria thinking like, all right, you can see the stadium was sold out. Sea of orange. Yeah. Are they thinking that we don't have it in us to go for the gung-ho thing? Because I actually thought going into the final, obviously I predicted Nigeria to win, but I was kind of hoping Ivory Coast would. But I thought that Ivory Coast would come out all gung-ho, like hear the roar of the fans and just like forget what their manager said to them and just start doing like basketball stuff, like running back, running forth. Yeah. And I thought that Nigeria would be able to, with a bit more quality, like people like Victor Osimhen, time your run. They're going to be pushing up, all of this kind of stuff. And I thought, even when Nigeria went 1-0 ahead, I thought, even better. Like, Ivory Coast are going to lose their heads. They're going to start just throwing random guys forward at the wrong times. Guys are going to make wrong decisions. And it was the opposite that happened. Like, Ivory Coast kept it cool. They were pushing the ball around, still trying to sort of create openings. And Nigeria were just so happy to sit back and soak up the pressure.
And I think part of it is they've obviously had a very good defensive record throughout the tournament. We can almost rely on that. But then I think Ivory Coast scored their second goal around the 80th minute. Then Nigeria started to attack after that. Yeah. But it's injury time, 2-1 down in the final, and you still got 3 centre backs on the pitch.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're still playing 5 at the back. That's duddery from the manager there.
It's crazy. And the manager has like a decent. He was in Portugal doing his thing. Like he's got a decent pedigree.
Yeah. I heard someone call him Jose Mourinho's brother.
No.
But Michael, you made some bold claims.
I made some bold claims.
Victor Osimhen and what he was going to do.
And do you know what?
1 goal all tournament for Victor Osimhen.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to talk like I know Victor Osimhen. I don't watch much of Serie A. I haven't seen much of Napoli. But the discourse around him, I know a couple people Nigerians especially were saying this is the time he's got to step up now, semi-final. All the hard work and the work rate that he offers and stuff, that's all good. But now, semi-finals, finals, we need the goals. And you told me he was going to score in the semi and the final.
He did score in the semis. So, I was.
It was offside, though.
It was offside. No, he did. You remember he scored versus South Africa and then they brought
Oh,
it
they
back.
brought back the pen. At the other
Brought
end.
it back for the pen all the way up the other side of the pitch. I was about to message
and that
you.
would have made it 2-0.
Yeah, that would have made it 2-0. Like, cleared it out, cleaned the game. And I was about to message you being like, Oshi Monster is here, you know. And then VAR are like, nah, actually penalty to South Africa all the way the other side of the pitch.
Yeah.
They make it 1-1. It goes to extra time. But nevertheless, I must admit, I feel a lot of Arsenal fans and Nigeria fans and fans in general are kind of disappointed in Oshimen's tournament. Especially when you make, it's like, it's different from Kudus or any of these guys who crashed out early. And you can just say like nightmare tournament, team never had it to begin with.
Kudus still had his moments though.
And he still had his moments as well, to be fair. But with Oshimen, when you make it all the way to the final, but you're only getting one goal. And even then, it's like, I didn't see enough in the games. It wasn't like he was an absolute danger man in these games, like getting shots off, you know, making intelligent runs to the point where it's like, oh, you have to pick him out, you have to find him. And I know I give guys leeways on AFCON, I really do, because I know it's not European football. There's a certain level of intangibleness with African football that is just like, you know how English people
it's not like a copy and paste.
Exactly. It's not a copy and paste. All the conditions and everything are different. Pitches, tactics, the quality, your left back and your right back. Does he have that ball in your locker? Can you make that run? But still, I wanted to see more from Victor. There's times when it's like, sometimes pick up the ball.
We can't be giving him the Rasmus Højlund treatment.
Exactly. So I think he's a good player, yes. But I would start to wonder if any club, because I think Napoli were thinking we're going to get 100 mil.
Yeah. De Laurentiis was the release clause at 115 mil.
Yeah. I think he was thinking, oh, that's a banker, that's guaranteed. And to be fair, look, Osimhen could go back to Napoli. He can do a madness in Champions League. And for the rest of the season, score 10 goals or whatever.
He'll probably still go for 70, 80 mil.
Yeah. And I think that's probably...
Yeah, but potentially a fair price, but...
He's not a £100 million player.
Yeah, and I've always said... that I think it's not about Osimhen if Arsenal want to compete. It's about Ivan Toney. He's the guy that you need to go and get. And one thing about Osimhen that does not sit well with me is that you're the striker, you're the big name, almost a franchise player in a sense. True Econ can't be taking your pens, man. Centre back, you got relegated.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Playing with Ben Foster.
That's what I was thinking as well.
I think True Econ's playing championship ball. Like
he won't play the tournament, to be fair to him.
Victor Osimhen.
But I hear you.
And True Econ, True Econ scored his pens.
Yeah, he did.
So that's not me criticizing the decision to put him on pens.
But this is
because he scored, right?
You're a number
Ivan
9.
Toney's not allowing.
Yeah, exactly.
Ben Mee to take pens for Brentford. Like,
Pinnock coming up.
I need my striker like Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah.
This is a chance to bag.
And these aren't even. It's not even little like match like This is semi-final pens.
Yeah.
These are pens in semi-finals to send you through to the next round.
And he got taken off before the shootout.
Yeah. I think he just doesn't have that ball. I'm not gonna lie to you. He must have missed He must have missed a couple important pens before, and he just don't let him anywhere near it. But that is not good enough. I'm not gonna lie. It's not good enough.
Yeah.
But shout out to Ivory Coast, man.
Yeah. Because one guy who did turn up in the final.
Tell me.
Simon Adingra.
2 people.
Yeah, we've both been on to him from early, saying that this guy
he's a bit of a baller.
Good. He won Young Player of the Tournament, and he looked like the real threat. I know Haaland scored a great goal. Great goal. Real strikers.
And even him, I can't lie, he deserves his credit. Came back from cancer.
Yeah, everything that's happened with him, fair play to him. But yeah, Adingra, whenever I watched Ivory Coast, looked like the main threat,
the main guy.
Almost, that one player who, like, if you give him the ball, something's gonna happen.
And this is Oliena that he had on toast.
Yeah, who's had a great tour.
He's had a great tour and a great season in the Premier League. He's locked up bare guys.
He was ripping for fun, man. Every time he got the ball, he was sizing. You know how we describe Martinelli and Trent?
Yeah, sizing.
Adingra was sizing him up, and he was just going, I'm just going to go at you.
The problem, what great ball. The problem Adingra has, or not the problem, but
go both ways.
Yeah, exactly. The reason why he is a problem is that Oliena was falling for every chop because he could honestly go both ways.
I don't blame him. It's tough.
The thing about Adingra is in the tournament he played on both wings.
Yeah.
Like he started games on the left wing, he started games on the right wing. So exactly, what really are you gonna do? And Oliena, as I said, like Oliena is very good in 1v1 defending situations. Like we saw him, give Saka a hard time earlier in the season. And he's done that to a couple other players. So no, I big up Adingra as well. I want to big up their captain Max Gradle. I don't know how he's 36.
When I saw Gradle, I was like, that can't be the same.
That's what I was-
That's Alan Gradle from
that's what I'm saying.
before.
I saw Seri.
Yeah,
I saw Jean-Michael
yeah.
Seri. I was like, that's not the same Seri from Fulham, is it?
Yeah. So
All of these guys, I'm happy that these kind of competitions exist because not all of these guys will have a chance to maybe win the biggest of trophies, but when you win AFCON for your country or you win any sort of tournament for your country, the president was there. You're at home in front of your home fans.
The funniest thing where I messaged you about it, as soon as Ivory Coast scored, I didn't even see who the goal scorer was. Camera went straight to
panning to Drogba.
Straight to Didier Drogba.
He was kicking every ball, as they say. Like anytime they'd miss, you can tell your head down, all of this kind of stuff. You could see what it meant. They had Kolo Touré in the BBC studio. He was just gassed.
Yeah.
He didn't really know what to say. But I think it was a great tournament. I think it was one of the best AFCONs that AFCON has had.
I saw a thread of the best goals, and we've spoken a bit about like how good some of the goals have been. But looking back at some of them, the keeping is
it's shocking. Yeah,
the keeping.
Maybe they should listen to Peter Cech.
That Bebe free kick. I saw that again recently. Yeah, the keeping is so fugazi.
Do you know what it is? What's going on? It's the fact that they dive. It's like the balls hit the back of the net.
Yeah, and then, they're like on their knees.
Yeah,
and the ball's gone above them. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of love to AFCON. I just thought it was brilliant.
Big up Ivory Coast for sure.
And I heard they were saying in the ceremony that the next AFCON is in summertime, 2025.
Oh, okay.
It's in Morocco.
I don't know if we need that disruption.
We
need the disruption.
I love Premier League managers just always being upset.
Oh, we're gonna lose 3 of our best players.
Yeah. And African players know to hit form in December, right before they go home for AFCON. But yeah, I thought it was a great tournament.
Yeah, it was a good tournament. It was entertaining.
It was entertaining. The stories kind of writ themselves. Check out all the threads on Twitter. I think you'll appreciate it. And keep an eye on some of these African footballers who did well in the tournament, because I won't. If you're a Premier League club or any club, you should have had scouts out there.
Yeah.
There is for sure, diamonds in the rough, gems.
Yeah. Well, that's where again, I think this is a separate point, but Brighton scouting department, full credit to them.
Yeah.
Because had Adingra been, I don't know where he
came from.
Yeah, before Brighton.
Yeah.
But had he still been there post this tournament, there would have been loads of clubs trying to snap him up in the summer.
And to your point, not only have Brighton got in there early, his value in the market has risen. If he is going to go in there, trying to go anywhere.
Yep.
This tournament's had another 5-10 mil.
Yep.
You start saying, AFCON winner and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Unfair the tournament.
It adds on to the transfer value. It just does. So I'm sure some of the names, some of the players who did well in the tournament will either sort of filter their way to the Premier League or other clubs, and I'm happy for that, man, for sure. And I wanted to, last thing on this point, shout out to South Africa, because I heard a crazy thing about like 95 or 96% of their players play in South Africa, like play South African football in South Africa, and they made it all the way to the semi-finals of AFCON, having some sort of self-sufficient footballing system down there.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. That's impressive.
That's crazy.
But yeah, props. It was an entertaining tournament, and props to Ivory Coast for the dub. But there was a big game on the weekend before we get into Premier League football. This man on the wall, Granit Xhaka, not in that kit anymore, but playing for Bayer Leverkusen at home to Bayern Munich. And I don't think we've really deeped what Leverkusen are doing. Like I said to my brother, they haven't lost a game this season.
This year,
He was like, in the league. And I was like, no, all comps.
Yeah.
He was like, they haven't lost in all comps.
It's crazy.
But they
came back recently.
Nuts.
They came back recently.
Europa League, German Cup.
In the German Cup, I think they were down 2-0 or something.
Yeah.
And they came back to win the game 3-2 like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. But I completely, for me, my thing about Leverkusen, it's not the fact that they haven't lost a game all season in all comps, or that they're 5 points clear. Like the football that they play.
Yeah. You said in the chat they play good ball.
They play good ball.
Yeah,
it's legit. It's like not Arteta stuff, but it's legit like
modern
manager stuff, building up from the back.
Jamie Carragher did a piece on it on Monday Night Football.
Is it on Leverkusen?
Yeah. Similarly to how he did it with Arsenal last week, in the way that they defend and the way that they attack.
Yeah, I need to see that.
And obviously, there's Sky and Jamie's trying to run their promo for Alonso to Anfield and whatever. But he was basically kind of saying that they defend as a 5 with like Hincapie as a left centre back, Grimaldo as a left wing back, and then they attack as like a 4-2-3-1 3-1 with Grimaldo as a winger.
Yeah. Grimaldo guy's balling.
Yeah. They pulled up his stats, like 9 goals, 8 assists or something this season.
Same with the other guy on the other wing, Frimpong, balling.
Yeah. AF's attacking fullback.
Yeah.
That's culture Kansas thing all over. But credit to Xabi Alonso. The one thing I will say is that we have seen in the past teams do this, right?
Yeah.
I remember watching the Dortmund game last season on the last day of the season, and they bottled it and Bayern went and won it. I think there have been times when Leipzig have been out in front and Bayern have caught them. So, but to be 5 points clear, credit to them.
They don't have to play Bayern again.
Yeah.
So there is that. It's like,
and I mean, to beat them 3-0 is
massive, statement. And it's just how inefficient, ineffective Bayern were in that game. The fact that Bayern turned up and went to a back 5.
Yeah.
Put Dyer in there.
Which they haven't played yet. Bro, Eric Dyer starting for Bayern Munich, like
in these games.
I don't know. But we'll talk on Bayern and Thomas Tuchel because we need to talk about what's going on there. Yeah. But first, I will give Granit Xhaka his praise. That's probably the first 90 minutes I've seen of him since he left Arsenal.
It was nostalgic, yeah.
And it was good to watch, man. It was good to watch. Seeing him pick the ball up.
I was just about to say, I loved seeing him get off the centre back. Yeah. You know what I realized about Granit Xhaka?
And everything's just calm, like time almost sat. But seeing him in the Bundesliga,
doing it as well.
In the Prem, the guy's on his back.
Yeah. They let him turn.
Yeah.
They let him turn.
And when you let Granit Xhaka turn and you give him time on the ball, he's just going to run the show. But even more than Granit Xhaka did his thing, bossed Harry Kane as per.
Yeah, we know that.
Expected that.
We know that.
But one guy who I've heard a lot of hype around, but I haven't really seen him play much at all. But I think I might be sold. Florian Wirtz.
Yeah,
he looks like almost the crown jewel the team. The kind of X Factor star player playing as like a number 10/false 9. They were just he's one of those guys where you can watch him for 190 minutes and he does 3 or 4 things,
and you're like, oh yeah,
that you think
he's got the level.
Yeah, okay, this guy, like he's operating on a different level.
No, I completely agree with you. I think he is not up next, but he's really one of these talents that you want to see come to there's very few talents from the Bundesliga where you're like clamoring for them to come to the Premier League. But I think Florian Wirtz is definitely one of them. And obviously he had that like ACL injury or long-time injury that kept him out for a year of football. And I always find it comforting when players who have that natural ability come back from those injuries and still look like they have that natural ability.
Yeah.
And then obviously shout out to Xabi Alonso for putting him in a system where he can sort of flourish. And Leverkusen had injuries. Boniface and guys who were scoring tons of goals for them.
It was mad that the guy who scored the first goal loan from Bayern.
Yeah, did you see what Tuchel said about that after the game?
That doesn't happen in England. That would rattle.
Different.
Head loss would be nuts.
Different.
If an Arsenal loan player in a time, like imagine we loan someone to Liverpool and they scored in the Emirates.
I just don't know how they let that happen. Imagine if you send your parent club down relegation or something.
Yeah, it's nuts. But on Bayern Munich, Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, he's in serious trouble. Did you see Nagelsmann in the crowd?
What did you say?
He's pissing on his grave, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
And look, there have been allegations about Tuchel, even from his time at Chelsea. Can this guy coach an attack?
Yeah.
Right. We know his Chelsea team was defensively solid, but they were getting their G's and their A's from their wingbacks. Reece James and Chilwell picking up like 2 GA a game, week in, week out. Like it was nuts. And that's not sustainable.
It's not.
And there were allegations then about can he coach an attack. Obviously, ended up getting sacked there. But one guy who's getting absolutely hammered by the German press is Harry Kane.
Is he?
Yeah, he's getting hammered by the German press because these are the type of games
that they bought him for.
Harry Kane was bought to influence, and Harry Kane was bought to make. He can score 24 goals. He can break Bundesliga records, but when it really counts, Harold Kane, where are you, man? Please rise.
On Harry Kane, I completely agree with all the sentiments. Like this is really becoming worrying. Like you are no doubt one of the best goal scorers for the last 10 years, out and out striker, all that kind of stuff, bro. You killed it. But you've always had this lot of Achilles heel of can you do it in the big games? You've seen you for England mess up in a lot of the big games, miss huge chances. We've seen you do it for Tottenham. People say it's not him. Yep. It's Tottenham, he can't succeed with the players around him. And and it's easy. The Eric Dyers, they were always there to blame. Yeah. The Davises, the Sanchezes, they were always there to blame. They can't defend, the Sissoko handballs, all of this kind of stuff, But if you're getting to Bayern Munich now with world class players, front to back,
Best team in the league.
best team in the league, front to back, won it last year with all the troubles I spoke about. Still won it last year. You can't lose it. Whatever happens, it falls on your head.
Yeah.
You could score 50 goals in the league.
Yeah. But if you don't win the league,
that's
almost
exactly
what Harry Kane is
exactly.
about.
You know, so look, he is, and I think no one needs to tell him. He knows it.
Yeah.
He knows that it's already unbearable for him, I bet. But it becomes even worse if you go to Germany. You made the decision. I mean, we weren't putting at the time, but there was the whole will he, won't he move in summer?
Mm-hmm.
Why should he stay? And I was definitely in that camp of why the hell would he stay at Tottenham?
Yeah.
Like, why the hell would you not be? You're the biggest and one of the best players in the Premier League. And I was telling him, you deserve to be defining some of these big Champions League games and winning league titles. So for him to go and not win league titles and potentially get bopped out of the Champions League, bro, you don't want to be doing year 2 in Germany on some like combat,
Yeah, 100%. And me and you have, I would say we've been more on the same page with Harry Kane than maybe me and other people.
Yeah.
But even so, there's still been a disparity.
Yeah.
Because anyone who knows me knows what I think of Harry Kane. The one thing I will always say about Harry Kane is one of the greatest strikers I've ever seen when nothing's on the line. Right? That's how I describe.
Do you know what
Harry
that's
Kane.
my Klopp is the
biggest loser.
The biggest loser in the firm.
But that is how I see Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane, in terms of goal scoring and everything about Harry Kane, he is one of the best I've ever seen.
But it's
when
true.
Nothing's on the line.
For now.
If you said there's a game here and absolutely nothing matters in this game, you can pick one striker, I would pick Harry Kane because I know he's going to turn up. But like you said, we've seen semi-final against Denmark, misses a pen, gets lucky with the rebound. The game against France for England, biggest moment of Harry Kane's career. He kicks it out the stands. Tottenham fans will tell you, when he did that interview with Gary Neville, which to this, when they're golfing and he said, I want to play with De Bruyne and stuff, and he's still a Tottenham player. This was like 3 years ago now, I think, before they brought Conte in.
And Gary said it's fine for you. It's fine for him to do that.
Yeah. And Harry Kane slapping he's like, I think if we get 100 million, then the chairman will accept that. And he put in his own price tag on his head and stuff. Which is still, to this day, I think it's mad
crazy.
That he even did that interview. But Tottenham fans are saying then, when he wanted to leave and win trophies and whatever, they were saying then, it would have been nice if he turned up in a couple finals, semi-finals. And so Tottenham fans will know that themselves. But they obviously had to hide it for a period of time. And you look at Tottenham's best season, when they got to the Champions League final, Harry Kane didn't play a single minute in either of the quarters or either of the semis.
Yeah.
They rushed him back for the final and he got completely locked up, didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man. Look, Harry Kane can score all these goals. He can break all these Bundesliga records. But if he doesn't, because he went to Germany to
win the trophy.
To say, I'm going to take the easy one. And now I've scored my goals. And now it's guaranteed for me to just get my rings.
Yeah.
Right. That's why he picked Germany.
Do you know what it's like? It's like, do you remember when Poch didn't win the league title in France in the first year?
Yeah.
Lost it to
Lille, I think.
Yeah, Lille. And then, he won it in the second year, but no one ever speaks about that.
Yeah.
Because he lost it in the first year. And guys are like, you should have, you should win it anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what will be with Harry Kane. If you don't win this trophy in your first time.
Especially Bayern have won it, what is it, like 7 or 8? Or is it more than, it might be more than that.
I think they won it 10 in a row.
Yeah.
They won it for a decade straight.
So if they now sign Harry Kane.
And you lose it.
And they don't win it.
Yeah. Forget about the is he better than Lewandowski? Forget about the
and that's my main thing with Harry Kane is I've always tried to come at it from a point of like regulating the economy.
Yeah,
everyone's putting Harry Kane on this pedestal.
Yeah,
the way they used to talk about Harry Kane when he was bagging 30 goals, which is a massive achievement to score 30 league goals.
Yeah,
right?
He's done it twice as well.
But if you really want to be that guy that people talk about Harry Kane like he was or like he supposedly is, you have to turn up in these big moments.
And not to go too deep in it, but the last point I'll say is he's in a real precarious situation for a lot of reasons, because if Xavi Alonso wins it and leaves, goes to Liverpool, goes to Madrid, goes elsewhere, and as I said, he wins it in the second season, guys are just going to say you can't win it unless Xavi Alonso's at, the one time Bayern Munich have any sort of competition, they can't do it. They need, and vice versa. If Harry Kane leaves, comes back to England, it's a complete failure.
It's just going to be a stain.
It's just a complete failure. So pressure is on him. The pressure is on him, and like
in the latter stage of the Champions League.
Yeah.
When things really start to kick in the title running in the Bundesliga, we need to see Harry Kane scoring big goals.
Deciding games. Deciding games. Literally deciding games. And preferably none of that, like, oh yeah, he bagged the penalty in a Champions League quarterfinal. No, bro. Decide this match. Hala, that type of finish. Like, just be the guy who's gonna for your country, who's just gonna get it done.
Because you look at maybe this is like a segue to move it on to Arsenal. Because again, I know we say chronological order, but I think we have to start again with Arsenal this week. Because what a performance! But Gabriel Martinelli, I think Harry Kane's probably bagged 20 more league goals than him.
Yeah.
But when you look at what Martinelli's goals are worth to Arsenal this season against Man City and Liverpool, both winners, it's difficult to say which one. At the end of the season, you can judge which one will be more important. Because if Harry Kane scores 30 league goals and Bayern finish second, and Martinelli scores 10, and 2 of them were winners against Liverpool, Man City, and Arsenal win the league.
No, I feel you. Harry, he's just got to do it. I think there is no way around it.
If he is this guy that everyone says he is, he's got to do it.
He's got to get the monkey off his back, man. Like I'm.
But like I said, Gabriel Martinelli, West Ham versus Arsenal on the weekend. We sat here last week and said we owe them one. Right?
We did.
They've beaten us twice this season.
I was nervous.
I was nervous. I knew this would be a tough game. This run of fixtures, post coming back from the winter break, Palace at home, I thought, we should get the job done here. But then Forest away, Liverpool at home, West Ham away.
Nervous, bro.
That's make or break stuff.
Yeah,
in your
100,
season, right?
100.
And being 5 points behind, we really had to pick up at least 7. At least, right? And I was worried. On Saturday, especially City and Liverpool both won.
Everybody won, yeah. The script had to be there for someone.
Tottenham won, like you said. And Arsenal had to get it done. And I mean, the way they got it done was emphatic. Probably, I think that's Arsenal's biggest ever Premier League away win.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the first guy I wanted, again, this could be like last week where we speak about so many players. So many players did their job. And the first guy I want to talk about actually didn't get on the score sheet, but I thought he absolutely ran the show, Martin Odegaard.
Yeah.
That I need that performance from Martin Odegaard. I know he's going to do that in every home game.
Yeah.
Or he's going to get to some version of that
performance.
Game, right?
In spurts.
But I need that performance from Martin Odegaard in every away game from now to the end of the season.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think we need more of that from him, and I say more of that from him as if he's not been doing that. He has been doing that, but I agree with you. That needs to now be sort of the level and the standard.
Of that, I mean, that I don't expect that because what he did on Sunday was just
he won't have it that easy.
Yeah, and he.
But that intention of controlling games, that intention of. And I thought what was really interesting about Odegaard and our midfield in general was like the interchange ability of all of them.
Yeah.
Like there was times when Odegaard was picking it up off central defenders.
There
was times where he was waiting for it in the pocket.
He was dropping deep.
I saw Trossard doing Pirlo things.
Yeah, the pass for Saka.
So I loved all of that, and I just think on Odegaard, it was a real captain's performance, man. And he does have this thing about performing at West Ham away.
Yeah.
So
And it was one of those where, like I said, he didn't get on the score sheet.
2 assists,
but you don't need to see goals. You don't, and I know he got the 2 assists, but you don't need to see
to say that he played well
from Martin Odegaard to see him have a good game.
Yeah, I know, 100%.
But yeah, I think he completely ran the show for Arsenal. Big performance from him, and then obviously Declan Rice.
Yeah, is that what you want to? So yeah, I think he only played 60 minutes, man.
Yeah, going back to his home stadium and at the Emirates, I will say he did drop a stinker.
Yeah,
I was there. In one of probably his worst game that I've seen him play in an Arsenal shirt. He hasn't dropped many of those. That might be the only one.
Yeah,
but he did really. He gave the penalty away at the end. He really didn't play well in that game.
Yeah, forget about that.
And I was wondering maybe that's a mentality thing, obviously against his old club and whatever. But yeah, he came out and he was ready for that game.
Yeah, he was definitely. He came up with a point to prove. And I'm still like I've been listening to a lot of other sort of podcasts and things that are going on, but I'm still kind of in awe about how consistent his set piece deliveries are.
his set piece. I didn't know he was this set piece guy. I don't even think the guys at Arsenal knew because I think
Arteta said that. Oh yeah, we know, but it was cap. Like Arteta,
because I saw something on Match of the Day that before the winter break he took 4 set pieces for Arsenal. Since the winter break, he's taken 12.
Everything. Yeah, he's done every set
games.
piece. He damn near takes them on both sides as well. Like,
and then Nick called him Declan Beckham.
And I think that I was about to say,
but the way he whips in that one for Gabriel's goal,
it's vicious. It's vicious.
The deliveries are on point,
and it's in such a danger. Like, if for both of his goals, what I think not both of his goals, but for both of his assists, the great thing I saw was that there was some, like, it was Kai Havertz in both times. Like, Saliba scores the first goal, but if it's not Saliba, Kai's there. And it's the same thing. They initially panned to Kai thinking he was there. So for me, it's just he's here in an area that is obviously worked on in training, and there's more than one guy who's going to be there to tap it in.
Yep.
And he hits that every time now. And I just think that is an incredible thing to add to his game for sure moving forward. And he was outstanding, man. I'm torn in this game between giving Arsenal players a lot of credit, which a lot of them deserve, and then also like realizing that it's not that West Ham made it easy for us, but they weren't at it today.
We're gonna talk on West
Ham. They weren't at it today, and I think.
But yeah, I mean, Declan Rice, he then
his
wraps
goal,
on in the top corner.
his goal, and this is one of the things I think is really interesting about Declan Rice is no one ever. Declan Rice could have finished the season with 0 goals, 0 assists. And I wouldn't have got onto him.
Yeah, bat an eyelid.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got into him about that. We said at the beginning of the season, he's going to be measured in sort of the trophies that he wins for us and our position in the league table and all this kind of stuff, yeah. So for Declan Rice to be adding these goals and assist stuff in it's almost Rodri-esque where it's just and the goals are always either bangers. All of his finishes are crisp. It's not tap-ins apart from the one versus United. And even that is not a tap-in.
That one was Tony Cruz-esque.
That's what I'm saying. So I just think that for me is the biggest, like, we have a serious football player here. It's because in the middle of the pitch, he has the capacity to do everything. Yeah. Score, assist, obviously run his legs off, make the challenges, all the above. Like, he could fit into these Real Madrid teams, and not look out of place.
The only thing I will say about Declan Rice, and he was flawless on the weekend. He's been flawless most of the season. But the only thing I'll say on Declan Rice, and maybe Thomas Partey's to blame for this because I've been spoiled with Thomas Partey. But sometimes Declan Rice
just put it in there,
and I just want him to play that pass to Odegaard. Like, their press isn't set. They're one man deep.
Punch it into the guy.
Give it to Odegaard. Give it to Havertz.
It's
maybe a semi-risky pass, but I know he's got the quality to do that. And maybe, like I said, I've been spoiled with Thomas Partey.
It's true.
I know Thomas Partey is going to wrap that in perfectly. Odegaard's first touch be between two guys.
I just think Thomas Partey, to his credit or non-credit, I just don't think he even thinks about how dangerous that pass is.
It's just automatic.
Yeah. he just plays it.
Yeah.
And like he sees Odegaard's heels and he thinks, calm.
Yeah.
Bang. I think Declan Rice, like,
through the smallest gap.
I think Declan Rice has obviously got underneath Arteta and he's starting to, like, think the game more.
He is doing it more.
So I think sometimes he can be a little bit cautious and careful and try and play it safe and recycle. And part of that is his job. But I agree with you. Once that starts to hit, once Declan Rice is like, that is what, to make it full circle, that is what Granit Xhaka was doing in that Leverkusen game. Yeah. Like, Granit Xhaka picks up the ball, and that's what I was about to say. I forgot when I was watching Granit Xhaka how natural it is. Like, Granit Xhaka makes breaking the lines look like drinking water. Yeah. Like, he just
punching the ball through. Just Florian Wirtz get on the half.
He'll in 4 build-ups from the back. Granit Xhaka will just break the lines 4 times. In 10 minutes.
He'll take 3 players out of the game with 1 pass.
Yeah, it's crazy. And once Declan Rice has that sort of bravery, I think, because I know he has the ability, but just bravery to his passing game, then you do have that sort of all-encompassing, all-round, sort of no-nonsense, everything midfielder. Yeah. And a guy I actually wanted to speak about, who I thought was crucial to the win, and I said it on the chat, was Gabriel, man. I know we big him up every week, so like fans at this point might be rolling their eyes, but
this pod is definitely doing something, because you see the amount of people that are coming out this week. Gabriel needs his flowers.
Yeah, but I'm to the point where I don't think Gabriel is even underrated anymore.
No,
I think Gabriel, he's getting like his just ratings for the performances he's putting in. Maybe underrated in the slide that people aren't really trying to vocally say, apart from us and some other guys, aren't really trying to say, yeah, best centre back in the league. Like you never really hear anybody who's
They
working
won't
at
say that.
yeah, anybody who's working at any of the sort of nationally broadcasted whatever.
Oh no, never.
But I'm putting him in, and you don't need to say best, but guys aren't even really saying one of the best performers this season. But
I mean, I said it last week. He's been the best centre back in the league.
Yeah, that's it. He's got to be in there for the player of the season. But before his goals, I think those first 20 minutes when West Ham looked their liveliest and were trying to work some stuff around, Gabriel won like 4 headers, made 2 clearances, and you just knew that it was going to be a long day. And I was thinking like, whatever happens, because I was still nervous. I was like, whatever happens, as long as Gabriel and Saliba are on it, we'll be calm. We'll come out of here with something.
And I'd like. Again, I agree with you. Gabriel was brilliant, but I actually wanted to talk a bit on the Gabriel and Saliba partnership and them two together. Because I heard Rio Ferdinand speak about it, and he's like, "They forget about them individually, but what do they bring as a partnership?" Yeah. And obviously, Rio, having been a centre back in the league, talks about his partnership with Vidic or whatever, and they complement each other very well, very well. Yeah. Like. And I think I was seeing Saliba like carry the ball and running overlaps and stuff on Sunday, and it was all just very fluid. But I think there's a very serious partnership building between the two.
Huge.
And with Declan Rice in front, that trio.
It's the N5 wall, as I've heard. No, but I think we've never had, or I've never seen 2 centre back partners complement each other for Arsenal as well as Gabriel and Saliba too. Like the closest we've had is like Mertesacker and Koscielny. Yeah. And even then there's still like, Mertesacker's way too slow. Koscielny was like just about 6 foot. You know, so like, I think as a partnership, man, this is as good as we have ever seen. And this, honestly, for me, is the foundations of the levels. The reasons Arsenal are in any sort of back-to-back title challenges or might finish second 2 years in a row is only because we have, 2 of the 4 best centre backs in the league.
Yep.
So that's the only way I can summarize it.
For a centre backs popping up with goals, especially timely goals when you need them, is so great precious. Ball. John Terry probably the best at that.
Do you know who
used to bag goals in cup finals?
Comes to mind for me, Gary Cahill.
Yeah, Gary Cahill used to score some big goals, but that trait of a centre back is invaluable. And I think Gabriel's definitely. But the thing, like with Saliba, I think there's no doubt for anyone that Saliba is the Rolls Royce.
Thing,
right, he can pick the pass and whatever. But there are times, and because I know it's maybe not as natural to Gabriel, where I see Gabriel wrap a pass, and the player he's wrapping the pass to isn't on the team, right? And I'm thinking, where is this guy? Right, but then the camera moves; it's gone straight into a player.
No, Gabriel he's tidier than you think on the ball. And he's got the angles. He's definitely got the ability to punch it, maybe even more than Declan Rice. Like Gabriel will punch it into you and tell you to deal with it. And agree again. It just comes back to the partnership, man. If Gabriel is going to learn that sort of composure and calmness of Saliba, and Saliba can learn in certain moments when to be more aggressive in certain duels of Gabriel, then it's going to be a real long day, man. Yeah. It's going to be a real long day. And we still got way more players to credit in this game. Yeah.
I mean, Ben White. I've been saying for a while that he could do that inverted role easily.
Yeah, you have. Right? You even saying that he could. You have. You're saying that he could be just a DM.
Yeah. He could play in that. He obviously played there for Leeds a fair bit, but this is why probably nothing irks me. Like people can say whatever they want to say about Martinelli this season and his numbers. People can say whatever they want about Gabriel and Bozo, Gene and whatever. But nothing really irks me more than when people pigeonhole Ben White as a defensive right back. Where like when Gary Neville says, "Yeah, Ben White defensively solid," Or when they talk about Ben White and they only talk about what he can do defensively. Nothing White like gets me more.
They just
than that.
The storyline is he's just a centre back playing at right back.
Exactly. That's that. They don't. But really and truly, they should be. But they'll talk about John Stones, and again, I ain't saying that Ben White's done. What John Stones has done, right? But we know as Arsenal fans, like Ben White's passing range, his ability to take the ball in tight areas, like he was brilliant on Sunday.
We bought him initially to be that ball playing CB.
Yeah.
So no, I completely agree with you. I think Ben White did his. I think what I liked
see how natural it was.
I was gonna say what I liked about Ben White is he didn't overcomplicate the inverted thing. He didn't try to be Zinchenko and like in build up. I'm gonna stand here and I'm gonna start drifting and float in to the left side and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He was just like, if it makes sense for me to have a man presence in there, I'm gonna drift in there.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna get out and I'm gonna come back and I'm still gonna overlap on Saka.
Yeah,
and I think that the reason why I agree with you so much about how Ben White can't just be a defensive right back is because I think a lot of Saka's game so much depends on overlapping runs and Ben White creating space for him and Ben White having that ability to do 1-2s and play cue balls with Saka high up the pitch in that triangle because he unlocks so much down that side and it's not just defensive solidarity but I think my overall feelings about Ben White over the last 2 games is he's had incredibly complex jobs and he's kept it very simple in both games. And he's made sure he's locked his man down and he's made sure he's provided an attacking option, an attacking threat for guys like Saka. And I just think, I've always said it, man. I want him to come in. I want him to play 36 out of 38 games and I want him to be a 7 or an 8 out of 10 most match weeks. And he's that. And it's like
he's there.
Exactly.
He's on the pitch. He's in the 11 week in, week out.
And he's that. And he's always a 7, and an 8 on good days. Probably give him an 8 on the weekend. He got an assist and all this kind of stuff, kept a clean sheet.
But and then lastly, the last Arsenal player, we spoke about him last week and respecting the fact that he may just become a numbers guy. Bukayo Saka hit 50 goals and 50 assists.
100 GAs
for Arsenal. And I think sometimes we
overlook that,
the fact that he's 22 as well.
Yeah.
I think we just kind of think, like, this is the 3rd season in a row that Saka's got 10 league goals.
Yeah. I was literally having this conversation with my friend and I was deep in that.
He's 22.
I was deep, Lacazette and guys wouldn't have got 10 league goals in a row for us 3 seasons running. So I think it's
he's going to get 10 and 10 again.
Yeah, double.
Yeah.
For a 22-year-old. I just think, it's not always for me about Saka improving on his numbers year on year. It's just about having a certain standard and not going below that.
Yeah.
If you're a double guy and you're
Marcus Rashford,
exactly,
the perfect example.
Exactly. Marcus Rashford one year will hit 30 goals and the next year won't even, come close to 15.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have the ability to hit 30, but you just don't do it versus you have the ability to get 10 and 10 and you do 10 and 10. Maybe Saka, he has the ability probably to get 30 and 10, 30 and 15.
Yeah.
But as long as you give me 15 and 10, 15 and 12, whatever, consistently,
every season,
exactly. You end up you'll be a better player than Marcus Rashford. You'll be a better player than,
because you'd rather have that consistency than what a guy who turns up one season, bags 30 goals, and then goes down to 7 or 8 the next
exactly.
season. But I think just and that becoming a numbers guy is a mentality thing, innit? You hear people talk about it, they just get obsessed with scoring goals. I know they used to talk about Ruud van Nistelrooy and how if he'd scored 1, he'd get on the bus and hear that Thierry scored 2 and he'd be miserable on the way home, even though Man United had won the game. It's a mentality thing. And in the post game, they asked him, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed because I should have had a couple more." And there were a couple chances. The header, the one that Odegaard slips into him that he should score. But I think he's almost making that transition at an early age of like, I didn't want my numbers.
And the second goal is his second goal. Is emphatic, and West Ham, they defended poorly.
Yeah, and I think we should get on to West Ham.
West Ham defended poorly, but the finish is emphatic.
Yeah. Areola doesn't move.
He puts it there.
Yeah.
The last player I want to shout out is Trossard.
Yeah.
I thought Trossard. I think
that because we didn't actually forgot to speak about him last week.
I was going to say that I often think, where would Mikel Arteta be if he got Mikel Mudryk over Trossard?
Yeah, but Mudryk would be balling.
Mudryk, it's not that Mudryk would be balling.
Mudryk would be Pedro Neto, right?
It's just that Mudryk is limited in where, like, Trossard dropping deep, doing the pillow thing. Trossard doing the false 9 thing. Trossard playing in the number 8. Yeah, those are already, that versatility that Trossard brings, that versatility that Mikel Arteta respects and wants from Kai Havertz and Odegaard and all these other guys.
Yeah.
I just think that it's such a perfect marriage. He doesn't need to be a starter. He doesn't need to start 30 games. And then he also has the ability to be so tactically versatile that we can play him in a lot of games, in a lot of different positions and find minutes for him. Whereas if Martinelli was out and we had Mudryk, I guess it's a like-for-like thing. But we're in a situation now where with Trossard, we can even play Trossard and Martinelli.
Yeah.
Trossard
just brings a different option.
You would never be able to play Martinelli and Mudryk unless Martinelli's going down the centre.
Yeah.
So...
Which, we don't know how that would work. He definitely wouldn't be doing what Trossard's doing.
And you don't ever want to conceive taking Saka off the numbers guy to have Martinelli and Mudryk on the pitch unless it's for a 5-minute thing at the end. So I just want to give Trossard his love for being
the way
versatile.
He takes his goal, it's automatic.
I thought it was great. I thought it was a great all game, and his minutes to goals ratio for Arsenal was probably up there with like the best, honestly.
Yeah. No, he played well. He played very well. But West Ham, shocking, pathetic performance.
Not won a game all year.
Fans leaving at half time.
Yeah,
I 4-0 down. On the Declan Rice thing, what do you think about them booing him?
I think it's football pantomime. I really do. I don't think it's anything more deeper than that. I think they love him and respect him, honestly. And like all the fans who were potentially booing him, if they saw him on the street, they'd ask for an autograph and a photo. And I love you, Declan Rice.
I'm the same, to be honest. I think all the West Ham fans do kind of like him, do kind of respect him. There might be some that obviously hate him, as you might get in any family somewhere, but I think the majority of them respect him. And to be honest, man, they're gonna boo Declan Rice, and they should boo Declan Rice in the 90 minutes. Because they know that Declan Rice is one of our best players. And if they can do anything to get Declan Rice slightly off his game or add a bit of pressure to every touch he takes,
that's your job as a fan, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to get the best out of your team. I remember when Cesc came back to the Emirates.
Boo.
With Chelsea, and he came on and everyone was booing him. Right? But that was just because Cesc's quality.
Exactly.
And he can make an impact in this game, do everything you can to try and gain an advantage. So within the 90 minutes, oh my days. Vinny he just absolutely cooked that guy.
Look at the defense, like his body language.
He's done that.
He doesn't want it.
He doesn't want another one.
He doesn't want it. He's thinking 20 minutes left.
He's asking ref how long left. But I think so. Within the 90 minutes, go ahead, boo, do whatever you want. But then after the game, I think it's only right that you show
give him respect.
Captain. He won the first trophy.
Did you want him to celebrate a little bit? A big fuck you.
Yeah, obviously, especially the way. Bro, I heard those West Ham fans and what they were singing at the Emirates, and I had to sit there through the 90 minutes. And just enjoy that. I should have signed for a big club and. I think honestly that is where the boos come from. I think the boos come more from Arsenal fans giving West Ham fans shit for taking their best player and Declan Rice, and Arsenal fans are always like, we should give you another 20 mil. We should give you I think that's more so where it comes from than, as I say, any actual genuine animosity towards Declan Rice. Yeah, but the 6-0 was enough for me. That was enough.
West Ham fans are not going to look us in the. They're not going to look us in the face. Yeah. And the best thing about these 6-0 victories is it always gets brought up every year, but it's going to get brought up the next time we ever, for the next 5 years, if West Ham fans say anything to me, I'll be like, but we beat you 6-0 with a Declan Rice dagger, not even dagger, like exclamation mark, exclamation mark. But no, West Ham, man, it's a pathetic performance. Aguerd and Zuma, shit show, and even from Areola, I think had a shit show too. Yeah, even from the pre-game. When Sky do their interviews with the players when they come in off the buses and whatever, they did an interview with Zuma, right? And I was watching the interview and I was looking at Zuma, and Zuma's like smiling and he's like happy and he's laughing. West Ham fans want him out, and I'm thinking, this guy, I think West Ham, the players, it's Derby Day. exactly. It's a big game, London Derby. West Ham fans want to win this game, and I think the West Ham players thought we've beaten them twice this season. Yeah, we've got their number, kind of thing. And again, I could be taking this all wrong, but the vibes I got from Zuma in that pre-match interview is like they're gonna come out on the pitch and it'll be light work, right? And Zuma gets cooked. He got hooked at half time after Tross. Aguerd for Saka's goal. We talk about how great the finish is and stuff, but I don't know what he's doing. Every guy centre back in the league should know because Saka's gonna try. The system Odegaard is
Yeah, but Emerson, Ben White's not the threat.
Yeah.
Like Ben White can get it. He can
Let him
put a
cross
decent
it.
ball in.
We don't have a
but
6 foot
who's gonna-
striker.
Yeah,
We don't
exactly.
have a
exactly.
6
We
foot
don't have
striker.
Ivan Toney in the middle. It's just horrible defending, and you can't like people. I know some West Ham fans have been on Moyes' case for a bit, and obviously Moyes, he's won the trophy, won a first trophy in 50 years for West Ham and whatever. But I do see, and that's not the performance. When a team loses 6-0 in the Premier League, a similar conversation to the one we had about Shef U last week and Aston Villa and whether it's the players' fault and is it just a lack of quality and whatever. When a team loses 6-0, for me that is all very hard to put on the gaffer, on the manager.
Personal pride has to come into it, yeah.
Because to lose 6-0, the players on the pitch haven't done their jobs.
But to West Ham fans' credit, to like devil's argument, is that they were losing 4-0 at half time. I think the only two defensive or the only two substitutions they made was like Mavropanos came on.
Yeah.
And who was the other guy that came
Phillips.
on? Calvin Phillips came on. You know, I guess they didn't have a lot on the bench. Paqueta was out, but still, like, make a change that fans think, you know, it's gonna like that's not inspiring.
No, look, Moyes got the setup wrong.
It's not even about fans, even the players on the pitch. If you're looking at Mavropanos and Calvin Phillips, you think, oh, it's black, you know.
No, but it's personal pride, man. It's personal pride. Moyes
you're not pushing forward at that point.
Moyes can get the setup wrong, and you can lose the game 3 or 4-0, right? But when you lose 6-0, right, and the way that the performance those West Ham players put out, they are to. But I do understand the Moyes out West Ham fans more now than I probably ever have before, because I do think
they were grateful. I'm not gonna lie.
I see both sides of it. I really see both sides.
Because West Ham, yeah. The problem they have is they're looking at the teams in and around them, Brighton, and they're playing beautiful football.
Exactly.
But they're not always getting the results.
Exactly. That I think is the biggest problem. Is that West Ham look at those other teams around them, and even though West Ham have won a trophy, the thing is the trophy thing. I know it's the first one in 50 years, and I'm sure West Ham fans are grateful for that. But the football that they played to win that trophy is Moyes ball. It's not great.
Yeah.
And if you're a season ticket holder at West Ham and you're going week in, week out,
I get that.
Those trophy wins, because you know the next one might be another 50 years.
Yeah.
So it's not like a Jose where it's like, we're going to play this style of football, but we might win a trophy every year.
Yeah.
Like, it will keep coming. It might take West Ham another 50 years to win a trophy. So that kind of football, you're seeing that every week. You're paying your money to go to West Ham, and you're seeing this kind of dross every week. And before, when I was more with them, I thought, yeah, but the squad and now I actually think they have the players
to play good football.
And like you say, teams like Brighton and those kind of teams that are Wolves, even with Gary O'Neill and the way that they're playing and stuff. It's the same thing with Crystal Palace, and we'll talk about them later. But Crystal Palace want the same thing. Right?
Yeah,
That's
they
why
do.
They have the big problems and everything. And even though they haven't won a trophy, I do get it. Because if you are paying your money week in, week out, you'd rather, or at least see some good football.
I see that. I see the oh my gosh, Vinny. I see the desire to have good football. If you're a season ticket holder, you're paying X amount of money, turning up week in, week out. You want to see good stuff, patterns of play, you know, tricky players, like stuff that's going to excite you. But I think this is where it gets really interesting, being a fan of a club like West Ham, you know, Palace, for example, because there is, like, Burnley are a team we've criticized all year for playing good football and not getting any results. And that is the alternative to your dilemma. It's like, there's no guarantee you stay in the league playing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Moyes ball, for whatever it is going to keep you in the top 10.
Yeah, has them Europe 3 years in a row now.
They've lost every game this year, and they're still not bottom half of the table. You know, so it's to the point where it's like,
but that's where. So previously, I was with you. I was like, look, this is what you're getting from. But when you look at the players that West Ham have now,
and this is what I was gonna say, like, I think the issue that West Ham have, Crystal Palace have it as well, is like, judge Moyes on the football the starting 11 plays. And I know they're only missing Paqueta at this point. Kudus has just come back, all this kind of stuff, yeah. But when the starting 11 is there, earlier in the season, West Ham were playing decent football. It wasn't like Brighton and, you know, full on expansive, but Paqueta was making things work. Bowen was a threat. Kudus was a threat. You know, get the long option with Antonio. James Ward-Prowse was knitting things together.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Crystal Palace. It's like when Olise and Eze are there, you have thriller games. You have goals from outside the box. You have stuff to get up and cheer for. The problem is when those guys get injured or miss matches, the manager doesn't have that quality to play expansive football. With that Tyler Richards guy from Crystal Palace or whatever, you're not
Chris
playing.
Richards,
You're not playing expansive football with him out there. He's not at that ability yet. And it's the same thing that the replacement for Paqueta, Souček. I mean, Souček is a good footballer, but
then I think they so I've seen some West Ham fans make the argument, and again, this might not be down to David Moyes. This might be chairman or owner or higher ups and whatever. But they have kind of stripped the squad.
They have,
because both Ben Rama and Fornals have gone. They've been sold.
No replacements. Ben Johnson shouldn't be a left winger.
But why is Ben Johnson playing? What is he doing?
That's bare bones though. So how much is that like?
But he's got Danny Ings on it. What's Maxwell Cornet done?
Yeah. He has a beef versus Cornet. There's no doubt.
Why
I'm not seeing Cornet play any minutes.
What is Ben Johnson doing on the left wing?
But this is the dilemma. It's like, Arsenal are in a must-win game, just beating Liverpool. Are you really going to start Maxwell Cornet? What happens if he switches off? How long can he last? Can he run full 90 minutes?
Yeah, but then they'll tell you they lost 6-0.
Yeah. So what's the point in trying to go there?
So if you're going to lose 6-0, you may as well get Cornet, get Ings, get those guys on the pitch.
I think,
but I hear both sides. That's why
I do. Look, I think Moyes, and that's why I give Moyes a bit of leeway, because he's in a precarious situation where it's like, look, I tried to do the logical thing, be defensive, lock down. Double team Saka, biggest threat that they have, all of this kind of stuff. And then that's why I say that the players have to do better, because
Ben Johnson didn't.
We didn't score for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
First half hour of the match, we didn't score. Half time, we were 4-0 up. There's a mental collapse in there.
Yeah.
Get it to... All right, the first goal goes in from
3 goals in 6 minutes.
The first goal goes in from a set piece. That can happen.
Yeah.
Game plan has to change a little bit, but get leaders. Somebody, James Ward-Prowse, get on the ball.
Yeah.
You're at home, start dictating things. Like I think, Moyes, he did shoot himself in the foot with some of the transfers and some of the subs and all this kind of stuff.
But
my whole thing is just that I think Moyes is in a precarious situation where it's like, all right, I can try to do the expansive Brighton thing, but I don't have Pascal Gross. I don't have, I have certain guys. Paqueta, yes, I can make it work, but Paqueta's injured. If these guys drop out,
but I think West Ham fans, and again, like, this isn't really my point of view, because I can, like I said, I see both sides of it. But West Ham fans might argue, but is David Moyes going to sign or be able to work with and do what Pascal Gross is doing? If they sign a Pascal Gross,
can he get the Pascal Gross output?
Is Moyes going to have him playing like Pascal Gross? Will Moyes even want to sign that kind of player?
But Paqueta last year and Paqueta to this year, completely two different players. Like he's got something out of Paqueta.
Yeah,
he's got something out of Kudus. He's got something out of Bowen. So it's one of those ones where
I think in terms of maximizing what he has from those players, I think Moyes has done a very good job in that.
His defense is still not,
and it's not really something, because when a fan just says, I don't like the way this manager plays football, Moyes can't just say, I'm going to change my whole brand of football. Everything I've been drilling into these guys for 2-3 years now at West Ham, I'm just going to change.
And I know Moyes has been there for 2-3 years, but even to his mind, there is some extent of like, I have to get results now. I could go at any moment. Like trying to implement the De Zerbi thing, it only worked because Graham Potter was doing that for time. And so he could come in and just improve it a little bit. For Moyes, it's almost like you have to build it up from the ground up. Like your under nines have to start playing out from the back and playing that expensive type football. And it needs time to work, and obviously it needs money and investment in players. And I don't know if Moyes can guarantee that he's always going to get that at West Ham to even try it.
Yeah.
And maybe he is a little bit but look, I'm not going to get on West Ham fans too much. I say they are ungrateful because you're 7th in the league or wherever you are. You won a trophy last year.
Straight into knockout stage of Europa League.
No fuss about relegation. And you've been that club fussing about relegation, fussing about staying up, fussing about losing your best player every year.
Yeah.
And now you're in a position where it's like Alvarez is only going to get better. Paqueta, whether he stays or goes, whatever's going to happen. Bowen, they're going to go for huge money.
Kudus.
Like, it's all going to go. So they're going to go for huge money and give you a chance to, maybe if those guys go, you get a new manager and you say, hey, look, you have 200 million, 250 million, build a project here. But I think Moyes, he's done well with the transition that West Ham are. He's done well with the transition that West Ham are currently in.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think that's enough on the
Yeah.
boys and the West Ham discourse. West Ham fans, if you're listening, let us know your thoughts. And if you are watching on YouTube, subscribe to the podcast. It only takes one click. If you're listening on Spotify, follow the podcast. We'll let you know when we upload every week. But yeah, moving it on. The first game of the weekend was Man City Everton. Cash money game at the Etihad. Knew what would happen. And Haaland's back, man.
Yeah.
Back with a brace.
My FPL weeps.
And the first goal is just, it's the difference, isn't it? It's the difference. Half a chance, if you can even call it half a chance.
You know, the
the
thing about Haaland is, and especially that first goal, it just lets you know so much the levels, because that can fall to a lot of strikers or a lot of players full stop in the Premier League
on their weak foot.
Over the bar, deflected, whatever. Like, you wouldn't even think anything.
To the ground,
you wouldn't even look at it as a clear goal scorer. Where you're like, half a chance, something like nothing type of thing. You know, he just lashes it into the top bins. He doesn't think twice.
Can't even react.
And
it's just past him.
It's
and then that breaks the deadlock.
Exactly. The game is different.
City are pretty much cruising through there, and then the second one in transition.
Yeah.
Get off Brentford.
Yeah.
Leaves him on the floor.
That's probably, when you hear a lot of NBA guys was like, what's your welcome to the league moment? That's got to be Brentford's.
Yeah.
And I know he's had a good season so far.
Yeah.
But I'm sure in a couple of years' time, he'll tell you,
I mean, the way he gets left on the floor, it's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing.
Haaland is a scary prospect, man.
Yeah.
I think.
But that when you give Haaland that space and that transition, that's when Haaland's at his best. That's when you're really gonna find it hard.
But they would look. The both goals you scored are complete opposites.
Yeah.
Crowded penalty box. Only got to get a shot off.
Half chance.
Yeah. And then, as you say, spacing behind.
Yeah, 1-on-1. Very. Yeah.
Like, a lot of clubs are trying to find a striker who can be elite at one of those scenarios.
Yeah.
And you've got a guy who can be elite in two, and top scorer, never left top spots, all of the above, bro. Like, I just think he's back, and there is a run in. There is a run in here with Man City, with Arsenal, with Liverpool.
But we'll move it on. Fulham versus Bournemouth. Couple wins in a row now for Fulham. Yeah, 3-1 they won. Rodrigo Muniz.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he played for Fulham.
Neither did I. I literally thought he spawned.
I literally thought
he spawned out of nowhere.
Jimenez, Vinicius, Muniz.
They've got Broha.
There as well. But it was horrible defending from Bournemouth for all three goals, man. Yeah, I mean that's about it on that. Solanke picked up an assist.
He did, and it was a decent one, because it was like a ball from a corner, back post. Somehow he gets his head on and keeps it in play.
Willian's still doing what playmaking, scoring goals. Just
I think he has just been actually kind of brilliant his career. Like, coming to London from he's playing in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And you think, like, what are we going to get? He was balling out at Chelsea for a bit. He's been inconsistent for sure, but over the 10-year career that he's had in London, he's played well for a lot of the clubs he's been a part of. And I just think that, it's not one of those like outstanding careers, amazing, he's won it all, the type of stuff, but just as a professional, he's for sure a professional football player.
Yeah.
And, holds himself to that standard.
And he clearly loves West London.
Yeah.
He's not really.
He's locked in. He's locked in.
He tried North. It didn't work out, but yeah. But yeah, shout out Fulham and Marco Silva, man. Marco Silva just doing his thing.
Fulham, man. Lost Mitrovic. Had a Saudi offer himself,
and they didn't give him a replacement.
Yeah, he's fumbling around with.
He's getting Muniz scoring braces.
He's fumbling around with Vinicius. He was fumbling around.
Yeah. Got Broja on deadline day on a loan. But yeah,
talk about making it.
They've got a decent run of results together. But moving it on, Liverpool versus Burnley at Anfield, which was actually a decent game, man. Obviously, Liverpool bounced back from last week. They won 3-1. But Burnley had chances, man.
They always have.
David Datro Fofana.
Yeah.
Missed two sitters. Absolute sitters. That could have put Burnley 2-1 up in the game. Could have made it 2-2. And that's where I will have some sympathy with Vincent Kompany, is that the football he's playing potentially warrants more than he's getting. And that is just the lack of quality. But I thought Burnley. I mean, I brought in Jota and Nunez for this game,
And they both
because I
bagged.
thought it'd be a 6-7-0
Yeah,
Burnley at Anfield. Like, there's not more of a home banker for goals
yeah.
than this one. But they actually did all right. They played all right, man.
No, but I think Burnley are not quite yet getting all the results, but I think from the start of the season they've tightened up on those. They used to have those just like genuine lapses of Premier League concentration, and now it's.
I mean, James Trafford's still fucking around, and like comes out for the first corner.
I was gonna say, apart from that goal,
Jota heads it in.
Jota should never win a header straight from a. It has to be from a second ball.
He's quite good in the air.
He's quite good in the air, but straight.
But if keepers come in, 6'5", James Trafford is coming out. You just need to claim that.
But the reason I say this about Burnley is because they're being more competitive in matches for 90 minutes, whereas previously it was like the concentration meant that they were almost out of the game by the time the 90th minute came. And then in the games when they were versing the Sheffields and the clubs around them, it was at 90 minutes where they'll just give up and, throw two in the back of their net. So I hear you. Like, I think Burnley they're going to stick with Company. I think that's pretty clear now. They'll probably go down to Company and come back up. And I just hope that when they come back up, they give Company a bit more quality. Like one midfielder that has that defense splitting pass, and then one striker who can bang it and bag it. And not to say that that's going to like guarantee that Burnley stay in the league, but it will give them more of a fighting chance. I think Burnley want to be in the Everton Luton tussle,
yeah,
rather than like.
And the thing is with that, like, I mean, we've literally just mentioned how many teams probably want to try and play good football, in quotation marks. Palace and West Ham, who Vincent Kompany might get that job offer, because they might look at what he's done and think, yeah, maybe if this guy, and you know what, if Vincent Kompany goes to West Ham and he has Kudus and he has Bowen and he has Paqueta,
can he get something out of him?
He might be able to play some good ball there. But yeah, we go to Burnley on the weekend, and I don't think it'll be an easy game, because Burnley do set up all right. They will come and press us, but again, Arsenal, if they are serious, they'll go and get the job.
I should have said this during the Arsenal time, but we just need to win we need to win every game until we get to City.
Yeah,
end of March.
Yeah,
like,
which is so fucked to say.
Yeah,
because that's like 6 games.
Yeah, and we already won 4 in a row, so that's a 10-game win streak.
Exactly.
But
and then go to the Etihad, but that's the level.
But that's like if you want to finish where we want to finish,
yeah,
that just has to be it. But yeah, I think as well, credit to Liverpool, man. We wasn't really expecting them to slip up. You was kind of like hoping for a miracle, but they do their job. They get their points. They score their goals.
I mean, we both said they'll win every game at Anfield.
Yeah, exactly.
Now to the end of the season.
Exactly. And Salah's only going to come back, so that they're finally going to have their focal point and sort of.
Konate was obviously suspended in this.
Yeah, main goal scorer back. I think Robertson played as well. In this match, which is interesting.
Trent came off at half time
again.
Yeah, Klopp was saying that the injury doesn't look good, but I haven't heard anything more on that. But yeah, like you say, good for Liverpool to bounce back. Still top of the table. But we'll move on to Luton versus Shef U.
Yeah, this was interesting.
One that I did think Luton would
at Kenilworth Road.
Massive game, huge game. Luton, you probably look on paper and say Shef U at home is the easiest 3 points in quotation marks.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, they went 2-0 down. They obviously got the goal back. Some good goals. Cameron Archer scored a good goal.
He did. He also missed the sitter and then scored a good goal.
He was probably 4 yards out and he put it wide. But that, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, credit Shef U, man. First away win of the Premier League.
It's a big win. It keeps them.
And it at least gives them some life.
Something. Yeah, something. There's a heartbeat there.
But it's a bad one for Luton, though.
It is. It's a bit damaging. It is a bit damaging, especially because you can almost bank on Everton to lose to City. Yeah. And if you really want to start putting some distance between you guys, or just
Forest lost to Newcastle.
Exactly. Like these at home.
Burnley lost to Anfield.
It's a 6 points that you've dropped.
Yeah.
And I think they probably had that Zuma thing. I think they were thinking, "Oh, we're good at Kenilworth."
Yeah.
We're like
the atmosphere will see us through. Or whatever. A couple dubious pens in that. But
yeah.
I don't know if I have the energy to talk about.
But there's nothing to say. I think it's just I'm also kind of happy that they leveled it up, with dubious decisions. Like if you're given the first one, give the second one,
yeah.
kind of thing. But yeah, VAR and whatever, refs, whatever.
But yeah, shout out Shef U, shout out Chris Wilder. And Tottenham versus Brighton,
Yeah,
which was a good game, man. Both teams obviously want to try and play out. Both teams have their 2 centre backs and a holding midfield, and then everyone else high up the pitch.
yeah.
So any turnover, both teams went to press, and 4 or 5 man committing to the press, and it was just end to end that game.
It was good stuff, man. I'm not gonna lie, and it was a huge game for both of those teams points wise.
Yeah,
Tottenham trying to sort of keep themselves in and amongst the top 4. Brighton trying to sort of push into the European top 6 places. My biggest takeaway from the game is, and it comes back to the Moyes point, the last goal for Tottenham, or the conceding goal for Brighton, you don't see that in a Moyes team.
Yeah. That's the thing. Brighton was so open all game.
Yeah.
Even when it was 1-1, injury time, Tottenham are still getting chances.
Yeah.
And Estupinian, man. It's Badia Shield-esque. Just completely falls asleep. At one point, Estupinian stops running, right? He sees Brennan Johnson. He stops running. He puts his arm up, and Brennan Johnson's onside.
I just don't think that Tottenham should ever really have that, 3-on-2 situation that they found themselves in the 90 plus 4th minute in a game where it's in a huge game where it's 1-1.
Brighton are away from home.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I think that is now just down to like poor management and structure and system and recognizing where you are in the game. That is, take a point, get the hell out of there.
That's not De Zerbi though.
Like
the whole game, no matter what minute it is, De Zerbi's trying to win the game.
And I respect that.
Yeah,
I do respect that.
Because Brighton could have won it.
Could have.
They had chances.
They had chances, no doubt. But when it starts hitting 90 plus 1 or whatever,
yeah, you do think,
take the point, get out there, knock it around at the back a little bit,
especially to concede the way they did.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about
caught that open.
That is.
If that was Burnley, we'd be killing them.
Sheffield would be killing them, and that's the other side to the coin of beautiful football. Brighton played beautiful stuff in this match. Great to watch. All of the above. And there's no Brighton fans, to be fair, calling for De Zerbi's head, so maybe it is worth it in the long run.
But West Ham won at Tottenham.
Yeah,
playing nasty football,
and it's about results at football, and that is going to be a gut punch to lose that game to a team that you were in and around it with, playing good football with. You had their chances, they had their chances, type of thing. To then lose it, have come up with 0 points in that match, or for a counter-attacking goal. Come on, it's just.
After you play so well as well.
You know what I'm saying? It's so deflating. It's so deflating, and you would have rather have seen a bit more pragmatism in that stage, I feel like, as a Brighton fan.
Yeah.
But it's not the end of the world for Brighton. I'm not here to kill him. You played a great game. I'd love to play that exact sort of model next week. A team who's not as good as Tottenham won't punish you.
Yeah, exactly. Because, the ball from Son
is
perfect. Brennan Johnson comes in. But, I mean, on Tottenham,
it's a big win. It's a big win. Yeah. It's a big win. I'm kind of interested to see how Tottenham finish the end of the season, because
the running hasn't started yet.
Exactly.
The pressure has not come yet.
Yeah, and I wonder how they're going to deal with that, because they're still conceding a hell of a lot of chances.
That's the thing. Tottenham, and this part to my point about Pedro Porro and the Tottenham defence.
You mean Delo?
I can't remember the last clean sheet they kept.
Yeah,
they always seem to concede,
and it's beyond just the conceding. It's like teams, I feel like, should always come out with at least 2 or 3 goals versus Tottenham.
Clear-cut chances.
Yeah, clear-cut chances, and Tottenham are going forward are a good team, and they're good to watch as well.
Yeah,
and they play attractive stuff, and they knock it around a bit with confidence, and they are getting players back. Basuma, I like Pape Sarr, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he adds something in that midfield, But it's going to be interesting in the run-in for these must-win games if you can show that defensive resilience that you would need to get into the top 4. Because we've been there in Tottenham's position where it's scoring goals, playing good football, but leaking goals 1 or 2, and you think, we'll always outscore the competition. And then the run-in comes, and we lost to Brighton. I remember Aubameyang missed that chance. We lost to Brighton under the Emery era, where we were shooting boots weren't on today, and we were leaking goals, and that was that.
Yep.
Didn't make top 4.
Even when it was Arteta, I remember they came and Trossard scored, and then Wepu scored.
Yeah,
and we lost then. But I think, like you say, I mean, Paul Merson described it perfectly. He was talking about the title race, but he was like, we're 6 games away from 8 games away. And that's when the running kicks in.
Yeah.
Right. So these next 6 games or whatever, but when you get match week 30 and there's 8 games left, that's when the running for title race, running for top 4,
all of
relegation, all of it starts to really kick in. The pressure will really crank up. And Tottenham's end to the season is looking a bit mad. They have to go to Newcastle. They host Man City. They go to Anfield. They host us. They have to go to Stamford Bridge. That's all in like 5 weeks, consecutive weeks.
Back to back.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But Tottenham are doing what they need to do at the minute.
Exactly. Because unlike, to the point I just made, unlike Luton, who dropped points, Man United beat Villa, teams in and around them, and Tottenham picked up their points, and that was the most important thing. If 2 of the guys, one below you, one above you is going to be,
Newcastle did that.
Yeah, like you have to just get yours.
But yeah, we'll move on. Wolves versus Brentford.
Yeah.
Obviously Wolves losing at home 2-0. Ivan Toney just comes back, can turn Brentford's form around. Obviously bagged in that game. I think it was a difficult one for Wolves. They lost. Gary O'Neill said they lost Hwang Yi-chan the day before. Cunha came off after like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, Reguilon.
Sergio.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing well at Man United.
FPL, I'm about to bring him in.
Yeah, same.
He's got 4.4. He's got a double game week.
Because if there's one thing I know about Reguilon, he's Pedro Porro on the left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He's got end product. Right? He's going to get taken.
I saw him on corners.
Yeah. That's how he gets his assists.
I saw him on corners.
Yeah.
And he's
with
got
Ben Mee, Pinnock, Collins, Tony. Come on.
And
man.
The point I made last week, looking at Brentford's fixtures, I was like, yeah, these are tough fixtures, but Brentford aren't going to lose all of these games. Like they're just not going to lose all of these games. And that, one, is how the Premier League works, but 2, is definitely how Thomas Frank works, because in all of us Thomas Frank's games, the games you never see on TV are the games Thomas Frank loses.
Yeah.
As soon as they're on TV, Norgard and Jensen.
I remember they lost at Shef U in like a 3 p.m. kickoff.
yeah. When it's on TV, Norgard and Jensen are Kroos and Modric. Like they're solid.
The show.
They're solid. And again, Tony, bro.
Yeah, the goal. First time. Bang.
Bro, clinical. I love one chance, one goal strikers.
Yeah.
Love them. And Tony has more to his game than just that, but he also has that to his game. And this is a way at Molineux where people have struggled, City, all these kind of teams, Tottenham have found it difficult. So I give a lot of credit to Thomas Frank as well, because he's actually not far from he's not going to get relegated, no way, but he's not far from the teams who we're saying are in and around it.
Yeah.
So those were massive 3 points. Yeah.
Brentford, Liverpool on Saturday.
Brentford's next 2 games are Liverpool and City.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, well, Tony, if you want that move to Arsenal,
it's where you turn up.
These are the next.
He'll score a pen in one of those 2 games, though, for sure.
But on Ivan Toney, did you see his interview
after the game?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
So there's been a bit of talk about it, but they basically said, and to be fair to Ivan Toney, I know he's catching a bit of flack for this, but the reporter or the journalist or whoever it was asking the questions was like looking for something, which they were
always
fishing, right? So they ask Ivan Toney, a lot of people know that this might be your last season at Brentford. The usual kind of thing that they
after every
out.
game, yeah.
And Ivan Toney basically just kind of said, I'm here to kind of just do my job and play for Brentford. And it's not up to me to I can't force other clubs to come for me and whatever, right? And then she asked basically the same thing again because she wasn't happy.
Just reworded it
with the response that Tony gave.
So to confirm, this is your last.
So then Tony, I think, makes a tongue-in-cheek comment because they said something about, Thomas Frank said that you've got a year left on your contract and you're not signing a new deal. So they looks like they're gonna have to sell you or something. And Ivan Toney goes, I take that as the manager doesn't want me. Right, but he laughs after he says it, and then does like the Frank Lampard thing. But no, right? So he kind of does that. It's a tongue-in-cheek comment, and then no, but seriously,
I love that.
No, but seriously, he does that, and then he's like, I'm a Brentford player. I'll do my job for Brentford. I'll do everything I can. And people kind of getting onto him. And I know we sat here and we said, look, Ivan, we don't want to hear any more about this.
Yeah, we know.
There's been enough interviews.
You've made it clear.
Daily Mail exclusives and whatever. Like, just play your football now. But I'm kind of with him in this one because it did seem like they were kind of fishing for something.
I actually think that Thomas Frank is stuck by Tony.
The Brentford fans as well.
Like Thomas Frank, even when he was out, when he was on MNF and all this kind of stuff, was saying Tony's one of the best players. Tony goes to a top team. He's a 20-goal a season striker. Tony's incredible. He's never. I've never heard Thomas Frank publicly come out and actually say a bad word about Tony. So I do respect that it probably is tongue in cheek from Ivan, and I think it does get annoying, man. I can Ivan, to be fair, he brings it on himself. The amount of interviews he did, it was way too much. But it can get a little bit annoying when you've won a big game at Wolves and it's just they kind of make it all about yourself, your drama, and everything going on. I think you have to, as a person, I'll be trying to find my way to laughing through it, trolling somebody a little bit. So I would agree with you. I don't think it's too deep. And what's Thomas Frank going to do? Bench him? So yeah, no. What's Thomas Frank going to do though? Is he going to bench him?
Yeah. and I mean from Ivan Toney's point of view,
so fake.
He's just going to get asked that question.
Foden's got to come into my team as well,
Yeah, I know. Tony's going to get asked that question probably every week. Every time he scores,
yeah,
he'll get asked that question.
And
in some ways, he's brought that on himself.
He has.
But that because I know maybe it's harsh, but I feel like as a Premier League, especially an English player, you should know what the media are going to do once you start do that. But yeah, I mean, it was great goal from Tony, great finish. Wherever he goes in the summer, I'm hoping it's Arsenal, hoping and praying it's Arsenal.
I was always kind of leaning yes to Tony, but now I'm yes. As in as long as it's not 100 million, I just think that there is going to be a plug.
You said that about Declan Rice.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Your price cap for Declan Rice was 40 mil. I remember those times.
That is true. But I will double down now with Tony and say that I'm not saying walk away at 100 mil.
But if it's 100 mil and Arsenal, look, to be fair, I don't think Arsenal are going to pay that.
Yeah.
And they'll probably go for someone else. But if it is 100 mil, I think Ivan Toney is the guy you need to get.
I think Ivan Toney is the guy you need to get. But I do also think that, when you spend 100 mil on strikers, they're you have to get 20 goals.
Yeah. I don't think it will be 100 mil though.
So that's my thing. Is Tony for sure is the guy because plug and play, and he's not so much a guaranteed starter even. I still think you're able to do Jesus down the middle some days. Exactly. Yeah. And I think that is where we'll really benefit is because we can interchange, we share the goals around. And I don't want to rechange the system. I've said this. I don't want to rechange the system and have a focal guy up there. And now it's just I don't know, we're doing long ball stuff, or we're always trying to look for him, or we're always we've got a good group of guys who can score goals and play beautiful stuff. So I think that's why you go for Tony. But as long as as long as it's not 100 mil, I'll be more than happy. And I'm every game that he plays, I'm oh yeah, I see it.
Nottingham Forest versus Newcastle, which was a good
game
on the weekend. We'll have to admit that I was watching the Leverkusen Bayern game.
Yeah.
But I did see some of the stuff going on in this game. And Elanga.
Yeah.
I think Anthony Elanga might be the fastest player I've seen in the Premier
League.
Bro. Dan Burn looked like he was running backwards. Elanga just picked up speed.
I've never seen a defender need to move on the inside more than Dan Burn.
Yeah.
It was all right last year. He was great, but
Bene and Elanga.
The funny thing about Dan Burn is when he's at full tilt, he runs with his head up. You can see him almost looking up to the sky. Yeah. And I'm he's gassed.
He's reaching top speed, and Anthony Elanga's put the ball in the back.
That is what I'm saying. And Gibbs White as well.
Yeah,
they're I think
it's good awareness from Gibbs White because he's played the ball so far in front of Anthony Elanga, but he knows, Elanga's gonna get there.
The good thing is with those balls is with a guy that quick, there's margin for error. It just needs to hit the space.
Yeah,
it just needs to hit the space. And I think Nottingham Forest, man, like obviously they lost the game in the end, and there is a bad side to their performance, but at home they do kind of make you work for it.
Yeah.
You're not just gonna walk over there in Nottingham and like come out like we did with West Ham with a 6-0 sort of slapping. Like they're gonna make you work for it, and I think that will bode well for them.
And they have some nice counter-attacking pieces
Yeah.
in that team.
Yeah.
Hudson-Odoi got on the score sheet again. Obviously Gibbs White behind Awoniyi, but Newcastle deserved the credit, man.
It was a penalty. I don't know what the ref was seeing on Awoniyi.
Yeah.
It was a penalty.
Yeah, same. I was looking at that and I was like, the keeper's clearly tripped him. Clearly, there's clear contact. Awoniyi's not going to go to ground.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah,
I was shocked.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, Newcastle deserve their credit.
Yeah, they do.
Like you say, tough place to go. And Fabian Schär banging goals. I mean, he got 3 in like the last 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
But Bruno G.
Yeah, he's been balling.
Bruno Guimaraes, man, he's been balling all season, really. Consistent in that Newcastle team.
Yeah.
He's played with Longstaff. He's played with Willock, Joe Linton, Miley, Tanali, whoever else it might be in there. And obviously he scored twice in this game. So it's easy to talk about him, but his all-round game, man, he is just a very...
Who do you think is a better player between Bruno and Douglas Luiz?
I think Bruno's better.
You think?
Yeah, I think Bruno Guimaraes is better.
I think that's a really, really tough one.
I just think Bruno G, like he is just... when I watch him play, I think like, yeah, this is like a Man City DM kind of thing. Like
I think he's better at level. I think he is better at the dark arts of midfield, and a little bit more. I don't know how to describe.
Like he's flicking the ball over guys'
heads.
Yeah. Bring it down
like but I do think that is neck and neck between those two.
He's playing killer passes, like the Jorginho kind of passes.
But if you look at Doug Luiz's like goals and assists, I know he takes pens, but
yeah, I mean Douglas Luiz has scored a lot of goals,
and that isn't to take away from the same number 6 midfield job that he does.
Yeah.
He is the guy spraying passes. He is the guy doing sort of the build-up play from.
I rate Douglas Luiz, but I do think if you gave me the pick.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I'm not honestly not mad
at
that.
I would pick Bruno G. I think he's.
But he deserves his flowers. This weekend.
To back it up again this season after a good season. I mean, he's been good ever since he came.
That is true. That is true. I mean, the finishes.
The second one in particular is just I mean, the way he reads the game to intercept the ball first, then takes one touch out of his feet and wraps it in.
Yeah. I don't know if Newcastle get a winner if that doesn't.
I don't know. Maybe it's just also because I watch Newcastle and I do kind of think that, like, no offense to the other players, but Bruno G is like
levels.
He's operating on it. You know what we were saying earlier about Florian, but obviously Florian Wirtz looks like he could be the next a wonder kid or whatever, operating on a different level.
No, I hear you with that.
In comparison to the other, and there are some good players in that Newcastle team, though, like Anthony Gordon and all of those kind of guys. But he does look like he's operating. Like I said, he could play for Man City.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. If he was getting games instead of Matthias Nunes, you wouldn't even.
Yeah. I mean, a Rodri rotation option doesn't get better than that, man.
Come Philly, see your heart out. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, shout out Newcastle, man. We said this off air that we hope Newcastle and those kind of teams a bit below start to make a real top 4 race come the end of the season.
Yeah, I want it to be as competitive. I think it's all shaping up to be very competitive between 10 and 8, 8 and 6, 6 and 4.
Yeah.
And then obviously the top 3.
But yeah, we'll move on to Sunday's games. And obviously after the Arsenal game, it was Villa Man United at Villa Park. And we'll talk on Villa first. And the Aston Villa fall off, as predicted.
We said it.
By yours truly.
We called it.
Both of us said this. And like that, the football that Villa were playing, it just doesn't appear to be sustainable, in it.
Yeah, I
mean Jacob Ramsey. I said this as well. Probably one of the worst 90 minutes I've seen from an individual all season. You know
that that colloquial expression of leaving your shooting boots at home.
Yeah,
I've never seen a performance embody that more. He did everything so well in order to get into those positions to score, beat some of his men. But the shots on target were just so tame.
But then, I mean, there was one where Bailey picks the ball up and goes past 2 or 3 players. He drops
KDB got 2 assists and a goal in this game.
He drops it for Jacob Ramsey through Dallow's legs, and Ramsey's touch.
Just doesn't. Yeah. I know exactly the plot. And like, and that needs those one, especially in those games when you're on top, like that changes the fate. If you score that goal, if you equalize, or sorry, at that point it would have been a go-ahead goal. United crumble. We know they don't have that mentality, really.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, as soon as Man United got the first goal, from then on out, it was all Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And one mistake I think Emery made was taking Leo Bailey
off. I don't know why he's done that.
I couldn't believe it.
I don't know why he's done that. And Leon Bailey, we've said it all season, but he's been brilliant, man. He's had that X factor in every game.
Yeah.
And it's not just having the X factor in terms of
Lindelof was shook.
Bro, it's not just having the X factor in terms of nice touches or whatever. He's playing killer passes. He's getting killer shots off on goal.
Yeah.
Like his passes are putting guys through on goal. And his shots are, whiskers, if not curling, always into the top bins. Like he's on it this year. Like he's the reason Diaby is not starting every game. That's what they brought him to do.
Yeah.
So I look. Yeah, we kind of saw the Villa drop off, and I think the respect I give to Villa is the drop off isn't that mad. Like you're still in the top 4.
Yeah. It's how you bounce back now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all about like, can you get out of this rut?
Yeah, exactly. Some blame has to fall at Watkins' feet as well.
Yeah.
Same thing with Jacob Ramsey. Just bury those chances, man.
Yeah.
The hell.
But Man United,
I got to give a lot of credit to Man United. I was saying it off air, like I love to ship Man United. We both do, but I give Man United a lot of credit for being in a top 4 race, for Ten Hag keeping his job for this long.
Yeah.
I give Rasmus Haaland credit for scoring goals in the last couple of games. I think he's really improved.
Shout out Rasmus Haaland.
Shout out Rasmus. Yeah. And it's not even that he's scoring really good goals, man.
Yeah.
He's scoring goals that show that you have a lot of potential and a high ceiling. Shout out to fucking Scott Mctominay. I don't know how Scott McTominay.
Scotty too hotty. Right. It's funny, right? Because before, or like in the first half, obviously before McTominay's come on the pitch and whatever, we're watching the game and I'm like, and my brother's cussing out McTominay and whatever. Yeah. And I just turned to him and I was like, look, McTominay's underrated, man.
Yo.
And he looked at me, he started laughing and he was like, no, he's shit, man. And I'm like, I think McTominay's Man United's top goal scorer this season.
Doubt.
And lo and behold, he comes on, he scores the winner.
I'm like,
I think he is Man United's top
McTominay legitimately could be top 3 crashers of the box in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Like
his profile.
Yeah. Like
McNine, man.
Every time, and the thing about McTominay is whenever the ball's hit the back of the net, because he looks so much like Haaland in the panned out camera, I never know who scored.
Yeah.
I'm always like, who was that?
Yeah.
And then it's McTominay, and I'm like, oh shit.
I'm hoping it's not.
Yeah. But no, I want to give McTominay Man United and some credit because you've lost 10 games or whatever it's been.
Yeah, and you're 6 points off Tottenham.
And you're 6 points off Tottenham. You're in a top 4 race. Yeah. You've won your last couple of games, and Villa away. We didn't win Villa away.
Yeah, City lost there.
So
it's a tough place to go.
It's definitely one of those things where it's like, it's impressive to be in and around it because everybody's waiting on your downfall, and as you've said, they just don't go underneath a certain level.
Exactly.
And
like a flaw that
they're showing that they are actually showing that because
and credit Erik ten Hag because he took Rashford off to bring McTominay on.
Yeah, and they got the goal.
And to leave Garnacho on the pitch, Garnacho had a couple nice runs, couple nice plays, and was playing better than Rashford.
Yeah.
So good from Erik ten Hag to show like there's not favourites in this team. Like Garnacho's playing better than Rashford, so I'll take Rashford off.
Yeah.
And bring McTominay rather than taking Casemiro or Kobe Mainu or whoever else it might be. Take Rashford off, bring McTominay on, and just say, crash the box.
And shout out Kobe Mainu again. I think he had a great performance. I think obviously he's still very young, but like he was in there next to Casemiro this time, which I thought was interesting because it's like Casemiro 4 or 5 time Champions League winner. Is it? You
see Casemiro's yellow in like the first 5.
Yeah.
The classic.
But Casemiro was giving him a lot of trust, just giving him the ball. And I know you're going to be thinking, they're teammates. Of course, he's going to do that. But like, sometimes you think, Casemiro, he's going to be looking for Bruno. He's going to be looking for guys who he thinks is sort of on his level. Like Casemiro was giving him a lot of trust, popping it to him in some difficult places and saying,
I've heard Man United fans say that Kobe Mainu is the best midfielder they have in terms of just controlling possession.
But no, it would look like it for sure. He looks very calm and composed on the ball. And the last thing I wanted to say about United though was, as much as they're giving you credit, and I'm going to give you credit for this, but it's just a weird point to make. It's like, I think that you're second best in a lot of the games that you play, and a lot of the games that you win. I think you're second best.
Because United after the goal, they got dominated.
And I don't know how, and I was telling you off air, like at the beginning of the season, we were saying it's unsustainable. And we're right, because you have 10 losses.
Yeah.
But somehow you've sustainably managed to perform in individual moments in games and win those games. And I think there is some credit to be given to that. But then also it's still unsustainable.
I think we were saying it's unsustainable in the sense of like, if you want to be
a big
where
team.
Man United fans thought they would be.
Yeah.
Right? The way they play, you can't be fighting with the best teams in the league.
He can't crash it every time, McTominay.
Exactly. McTominay can't be, I mean, he's been your hero a lot, but he can't be your hero every week. But yeah, Eric Ten Hag broke the away record curse.
Yeah.
And 9 teams.
Yeah.
Of course, it was going to be Emery, but we'll keep that
under wraps. Noticer. Is that what you said?
Hashtag noticing. But yeah, massive win for them. Like I said, man, if they had lost that, they would have been 11 points off Tottenham, I think.
It was a huge game. It was a huge. I can't even understate. It was a huge win for United because
keeps them in the top 4.
Like us versus Liverpool last week, it just means you're back in it.
Exactly.
Like it just means you're back in it.
And Gary Neville again, not too much I agree with Gary Neville on, but on this point, he did say that Tottenham would have been watching that game hoping Man United lose. So even though Villa might go back above them, Man United are kind of out of it, and they can trust themselves to maybe be better than Villa, or Villa might fall off or whatever. If you're going for a top 4 race, you don't really want to be up against Man United because, like you say, somehow, some way, they've got quality, like especially individual quality, that can win them games. And come those last 8 games of the season, when you're fighting in a top 4 race, and I've said this before about Udogie, Van der Ven, Podjo Porro, all these guys, when the pressure on, and now like
you're gonna find
United play first and they've won, and now you play and you need to pick up, otherwise the gap's gonna close and whatever. Man United have players who have been there before, and they'll probably.
Man United fans will also be thinking the abuse can't be worse than what the beginning of the season was. Like the low and. My God, they're probably thinking we've been through the fire.
I mean, to be in like you said, to be in a shout with Champions League football from where they've been and stuff.
They've been through the fire. They've had everybody say they're the worst team ever. They've had everybody say that you're the worst defender, you're the worst right back, you're the worst. They've been through the fire. And if Tottenham lose a game and they start getting onto the Van der Ven or Udogie or whatever, like Van der Ven got lucky a little bit that Son scored that. Oh, sorry, Brennan Johnson scored that winner because
he made the mistake.
Those stuff starts to get highlighted more.
But like you said, Tottenham lose one game, Man United win, the gap's 3 points.
3 points. 3 points, and then people start putting that all of the,
and then the chasing pack,
the vitriol. When people start putting the vitriol on top of as you say, Porro, Udogie, Van der Ven, we'll see who can stand up to it, man. Even Vicario, I don't know.
Yeah,
he's been good, no doubt, better than Lurie, no doubt. But if he's letting any more sort of these set pieces things, and like the pressure's going to be on him, and teams are going to start trying to exploit that tactically. 100%. And if it starts working, and it's a spiraling notion.
Yeah, I think that top 4 race is going to be interesting. And one team that I actually predicted to be in the top 4 was Chelsea.
Yeah,
and they went to Selhurst Park on Monday night. And it was a massive game for Pochettino.
Yeah, it was.
Not even for Chelsea, not even for the Chelsea players, but for Pochettino.
For Poch himself, yeah.
Because Pochettino had to... When Jefferson Lerma screamer, by the way, out of nowhere. Because I watched that game, and I was quietly confident about my Gusto clean sheet.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, Eze, no Elise, Palace aren't going to score. Right? It should be all right. The Chelsea defense isn't that good, but who's going to score for Palace? Right?
Yeah.
Who's going to create something? And then I saw Mateta.
Yeah. Take extra.
Run an ISO game on Dizazi. I've never seen.
Clear out.
See, Bat was like, lot more. And I was like, the worst thing of all of that is I've seen Dizazi get beat with a step over from Mateta.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Mateta attempt a step over.
He does. That's not his. Come on.
Bro, and then Dizazi fell for it. He beat him. And the goal came off the back of that. And I thought it might be one of those days.
Yeah.
Where Lerma, screamer.
Yeah.
Like, I said, Chelsea are in that phase where Jefferson Lerma's scoring from 30 yards against them.
But yeah,
second half, And Chelsea were
Much,
appalling in that first
but
half.
they're much better in
So
the second
slow.
half. Yeah.
Kane, obviously, Poch had said something to them. They increased the intensity. And Conor Gallagher
Yeah.
with a brace. Cole Palmer with 2 assists towards the end of the game.
Yeah. The game got away from Crystal Palace. How was Roy Hodgson sort of still in their job?
I was gonna say that, man.
Yeah, but to keep it in Chelsea for a bit, it was a huge win for Pochettino.
Massive.
And I think it was a huge win for that Chelsea dressing room because they've been so up and down all year. And to win 3 games, to then get thumped by Liverpool, to then beat Aston Villa, to then lose to Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Like,
get thumped by Wolves.
Yeah, in between that as well. So I think for the dressing room as well, it was a huge game. And I think Poch, at least going forward, attacking wise, should have an idea of what he wants to do and where he wants to be. Like, I know they weren't all that great in the first half, but I'm liking Madueke. I'm liking Cole Palmer, obviously. Didn't Kunku start up top?
No.
Who was it that started?
It
was it Jackson?
But it was kind of Palmer in a false 9 and Jackson from the left.
Yeah, I wouldn't start Jackson from the left,
which didn't work at all in the first half.
But there is certain combinations now that I think Pochettino should be looking to really, really, really exploit moving forward. Yeah. And it's definitely more so centered around these young guys.
Palmer and Gusto on that right side, just caused Palace so many problems in that second half. And yeah, I like to say, I think it's a massive, especially they got the cup final next weekend.
And we were saying that Conor Gallagher is the one who can't be sold in Jan. So I'm happy that didn't go through because God knows where Chelsea would be.
Those are his first 2 goals of the season, you know.
Is it?
Yeah.
God knows where Chelsea would be if Conor Gallagher wasn't there. And it's not for his goals or assists, but it's for the work rate. It's for the knitting it all together.
And he scored 2 good goals, man.
Yeah,
so he took his finishes.
And to be fair, happy. I was screaming at Enzo to square it because I didn't want the Cole Palmer assist. But I'm happy for Enzo on a certain level. He
took his goal well as well.
He took his goal well, cold. Just cold all round, dropping the defender, seeing that there's a little corner and putting it there. A bit over the top of the celebration, don't you think?
Yeah,
but I'm joking.
You see Dizazi?
Yeah.
The fans like 4 rows deep.
Nah, Jackson. I thought Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah, he got booked in it.
He's the biggest hype man.
Yeah.
Holding up Enzo's shirt to every time Chelsea and like, I get you're professional football. Obviously, you're young as well, big moments. But I just thought it was so funny that like he's so happy to be the biggest hype man if he needs to be. But again, my only overarching point about this whole thing was I'm happy Chelsea won because it keeps pressure on all the teams above them. Brighton, West Ham, Tottenham, all of these guys.
And they go to the Etihad on Saturday. So at least they're giving a bit.
Can you do something for me?
Exactly.
Can you do something for me?
But Chilwell again, man. So again, one of the worst 90 minutes I've seen from a fullback. It was awful from Ben Chilwell. Like I didn't see him play a forward pass, and this isn't me exaggerating. I was talking to Armand during the game. I didn't see Ben Chilwell play a forward pass. Right, I didn't see him play a successful cross. Every time the ball came up, Ayew was bullying. Bullying. You know when Ayew pins you back and Chilwell's fighting to get round him, gives away a foul. Yeah, awful performance from Ben Chilwell, man.
Little tidbit. I for some reason love these ballers that like Ayew does it, Oleana does it, Bissouma does it, but they sag, like they wear their trousers or their shorts down to their knees, and then they'll do the hold up play, they'll win fouls, and they never once pull up their trousers or shorts. But I just find it so funny. But on Crystal Palace, man, I think 2 things. Obviously, they lost the game in the end, but I think that there's 2 Crystal Palaces. There's like a midweek Monday to Friday Crystal Palace and a weekend Crystal Palace. Yeah. And you better hope you get the weekend Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace at 3 p.m. kickoff. Can't lock those in. 3 points. But Crystal Palace on a midweek, it's going to be a
nice day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Selhurst Park. I mean, bro, I've got written here in my notes, Palace are a very bad team.
Yeah, and they are.
That is all I can
and
really
they are.
say about them.
The problem Palace have is they have like 2 quality players that could play for top 6 clubs. And then they're dotted in and around. Well, and they have Gay here as well, who could, play for definitely a top 8, top half team. And then they have just dotted in and around them, Dross.
You know what? One guy I will shout out, that Adam Morton, who just signed from Blackburn. They got him for like 19 million.
Yeah.
Transfer window, holding midfielder. He played all right. He looks like he left-footed, lefty in midfield. Looks like he might have a bit.
The angles.
One to watch. One looks like a guy who might actually be able to find Elise and Eze in dangerous positions and whatever. But aside from him,
didn't they have that guy who's injured? Remember that guy who was meant to go to Liverpool? I can't remember his name now. It's not Traore. They have a DM, number 6, literally.
Check Decore.
Yeah, Decore. Yes,
he's been out. He's been out. Not injured, but yeah, man. I'd like you said. I don't know how Roy's still there.
I don't know Roy. I've spoke to Roy. Roy doesn't want to be there. Like Roy is more than happy to amicably split ways.
Yeah,
and just live the rest of his life in Kent.
I don't know why they haven't done it.
Maybe they want to, I think Roy, he provides a certain level of stability, keeping them up and stuff. But if I'm Crystal Palace, like, yeah.
Did you know, because I didn't know this until like last week, that Roy Hodgson played for Crystal Palace?
10,000 BC.
Yeah, 50s or 60s.
Roy's been a manager. Roy's been a manager for 40 years.
But he's from Croydon.
What?
Yeah, Roy. He played for Crystal Palace as a player.
I think that's the only reason that they've kept him around.
yeah, it must be. It must be. Because how they haven't made that just seems like an obvious one of like Palace fans want to see better football.
Yeah,
they've got decent players in there. You're probably really not flirting with relegation. Like, why is Roy still there?
Get yourself an Areola.
But Roy should be sipping pina coladas.
Oh, long time Roy should have been sipping pina colada. I don't know how Roy's traveling up and down the country like this. I seriously don't know how Roy is getting up and down the country like this. Eating meal deals, whatever he's doing. like
getting out on the training pitch every day.
Gosh, God. Oh, but like he must fall to his knees every time Eze and Olise get injured. I think he just calls players by their numbers. He's seen so many players over his career. He just says number 16, you need to be here.
I saw something before the game that Palace's record against Chelsea, home and away. I think after last night's result, Chelsea have won the last 13 in a row against Palace. The last time Palace beat Chelsea was like 2017. They won 2-1. And who scored the winning goal?
Zaha.
Who else?
Of course.
Who else was it going to be?
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, good result for Chelsea. And hopefully they can try and build some momentum from here.
Yeah. They're not too far, to be honest, Chelsea. They're only
it was unfortunate, though, because I didn't get to watch Matisse's fan cam after the game.
Chelsea are not too far off 8th, though. I think there's only like 2 points separating them between...
That's the thing, man. Like, there's still 14 games left, man. There's a lot of points to play for.
The problem is they're 10 points off, or like 9 points off United, but they're like 4 points off the team below United.
Yeah.
So they're in and around it.
Yeah.
For like, Europa League or whatever.
And it doesn't get much tougher than obviously the Etihad.
Yeah.
But
can you do something for
It's almost like a free hit, right? For
Chelsea.
To kind of
and Thiago Silva's just gone off injured, it would look like.
Yeah. Which might help them. But yeah, we'll move on. MVPs and rookies of the week.
We got Xavi Alonso in there.
Yeah, I got a couple of MVPs. One that I think I'm not an NFL fan, so I can't say I watched it, but I know you are a bit. So the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I think
give them their praise.
I'm not the biggest Kansas City Chiefs fan, but I do give them their praise because they absolutely have that championship pedigree.
Yeah,
like they're absolutely a team that, and I think a lot of it just comes down to like, so obviously Paddy Mahomes QB he's won 3 Super Bowls now.
Yeah,
he's been to 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls, or he's been to 3 of the last 4. He's been 4 and 5, and he's won 3 of them, and he's only lost 1. Yeah, which is nuts because there's a lot of great QBs that don't even get 1 Super Bowl. There's a lot of QBs. There's a lot of all-timers that don't have 2. And he's already on 3, and he's not even 30. He's 27, 28.
Yeah.
So he has the potential to end his career with,
That's mad because the only name I've been hearing is Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
That's the only name I've been saying.
They do deserve an MVP for having that championship pedigree. I think they go into the game with such self-belief that they can do this, and they have such belief in their QB and their manager and all of this Travis Kelce.
And they went to overtime.
And they didn't give up the fight. And no, they definitely deserve a lot of praise and a lot of credit. And I'll give it to Paddy Mahomes because I think 3 Super Bowls really at your age is crazy. When you sign guys for Paddy Mahomes signed like it was like a 40 mil, 50 mil a year deal. Like that's stupid. Like 400 or 500 mil contract over 10 years or something.
Yeah.
When you put guys on those contracts, this is the kind of returns that you want to see, and like you rarely actually ever see that.
Yeah.
You know. But he's done it. He's delivered.
Yeah, fair play to him. Shout out Patrick Mahomes. I was gonna give one to Saka.
Yeah.
50 goals, 50 assists for Arsenal boyhood club.
There was somebody else I was
Obviously
thinking
at the age of 22. I know you wanted to give your praise to Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, Jude, man. I all of the stats like don't do him enough justice. I just think that the only players that have scored more goals than him in his debut season are like, you know, R9, Cristiano Ronaldo. I think it was Gareth Bale. And then there's like Raul or like, you know, some other
guy on the wall.
Yeah, some other huge club legend. Yeah. You know, to go top of the table. He's only 20 years old, bro.
Yeah.
He's balling out with the best of them. He's got the top of the table. We scored 15 goals in the league this year.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Like, no one's talking about... They didn't have a number 9. Hoselu is their only registered number 9 in the squad. I just think that it's ridiculous. I got a lot of time for him. And there was somebody else I was thinking of for an MVP.
I was going to give one to Cam Whitmore.
Yeah.
You know, I've been on... as soon as I came back from Canada in the summer, I watched the draft out there. The first time I've watched the draft. And we spoke a bit about it. I mean, the main takeaway you'll get from the first time you watch the draft is the drip is outrageous.
Is outrageous.
Yeah.
You're about to get paid. You're about to get signed.
Exactly. You're about to get like, if you get drafted in the top 5, you're about to get like a $10 million, $30 million deal.
And that's just a loan from one. That's not even advertisement.
But yeah, for those who don't know the story, I'll try and sum it up and tell it quite quickly. Cam Whitmore was meant to be a top 5 draft pick. And the draft came round and he was sliding. No one was picking him. And I was sat there watching it with my cousin and we were like, why is no one
What's going on?
I think the Toronto Raptors had like the 12th or 13th pick and Cam Whitmore was still available. And my cousin was praying that they take him. And they didn't take him. And it came all the way back round to Houston, who I think had the 4th pick.
Yeah.
So in the second round, he then gets drafted. And there were questions. The reason why he was sliding was apparently because he didn't interview well. He came across a bit arrogant when the teams and the clubs were interviewing him. Came across as a bit of like, I've already made it kind of guy,
stuff that goes,
quality and whatever.
The politics that goes into draft.
But he's gone in at Houston with a coach in Ime Udoka, who's kind of very by the book, disciplined guy. And he's been putting up serious numbers, man. Serious numbers. A lot of the rookies go to the G League. The guy that the Raptors did take, Grady Dick, has been not very good. My cousin is annoyed that they didn't take Cam Whitmore. But yeah, shout out Cam Whitmore because everyone questioned you. Everyone was doubting you in the draft and you're doing your thing, man.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think the good thing about players like Cam Whitmore is when you go to a team like Houston that stink at the moment.
Yeah, and last year the Houston team were known for being awful, just
fuckery,
partying.
Yeah.
The night before the game, coming in on the hangover.
The good thing is you get to play ball though. Other you get drafted into a decent team who already have decent starters. You get a couple minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, good thing about Cam Whitmore is he gets to actually under Ime. Just play ball.
Yeah. He's breaking like some of the rookie records as well.
Yeah, that's really good to see. I'm not gonna lie to you. That is really good to see.
And
any other MVPs? There's somebody who is skipping my mind. Who was
Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast, definitely. Audio Max Gradle again.
Yeah,
captain your country. Adingra again. All enough love. I want to actually give Trust Kong an MVP. You know, player of the tournament as a defender. It's tough to do.
Did he win player of the tournament?
Yeah. You don't play of the tournament as a day, but you keep 4 clean sheets.
Yeah.
You might as well.
Probably scored like 4 goals.
And you captain your side. Yeah.
But I will give a rookie to Nigeria.
Yeah.
The way you played the final.
Yeah.
Like credit to Nigeria for everything
X, Y, and Z
until then, but you can't play a final like that, man. You can't.
It's not the one.
You just destroy the spectacle.
It's not the one.
It's meant to be the AFCON final.
No, it's not the one. Who else do you think would be a rookie of the week?
I'm not too sure who else to give it to. That was the only one I had written down.
H. Kane?
Oh,
Tommy
T?
T?
Yeah. They definitely need it. Both of them need it. Harry Kane. I need you to rise at some point in a big game, bro. When it matters.
Yeah.
You need to do it.
Real men do need that.
And yeah, Tommy Tooks. But to be honest, I do still kind of think that Bayern are going to win the league.
Yeah, so do I.
I just think there's this inferiority complex.
It needs to be more than 5 points.
Yeah.
It
5
needs to be
points
more than
is
5
like,
points. Because one loss and it's 2 points.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's like, all right, well, what are we in it for?
But yeah, I think West Ham
fans. Oh, I was asking you, if you were a West Ham fan, at what stage would you have gone home? After what goal? Or moment in the match?
I would have gone home at halftime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would have gone home after I saw Saka rip it into the bottom bin. After half time,
5-0.
When you come out in the second half thinking things are going to be better, surely we get one, we win the second half whole thing, and then Saka just turns up and rips it in the bottom bin.
But I think that's a massive game for West Ham, for the West Ham fans. It's a game that they, other than Tottenham, that's the next, and Chelsea maybe.
Yeah.
But they probably want to beat Arsenal when they beat Chelsea. So if I took the equivalent and I was to kind of say, if that was like an Arsenal-Tottenham North London derby and we were 4-0 down at the Emirates and I'm sat in my seat there, but I'm best believe I'm probably.
But then imagine Richarlison.
The thing is, because it's Arsenal, because it's the Emirates, because it's the North London derby, something could happen.
No, I hear you.
Right, but so maybe.
And then Richarlison comes out
and 5.
Puts it.
Yeah, then I'm gone. I'm out. I'm not watching that. And for those fans that left, I know some people are getting onto them saying support your team.
If you pay your ticket, I think you should be able to.
Exactly. Those same fans that left will be there next week supporting West Ham. They've been there every week for however many years. And exactly like you said, sometimes I feel like people forget, like they've paid to be there.
Yeah. And you're probably thinking, I want to see Aston Villa United.
Well, and the thing is, they paid their money to be there. They paid their money to go and watch, and now their team's getting spanked 4-0.
They've not won a game all year.
They leave at halftime. They missed the Stratford traffic. We know all about that.
Yeah, real.
That East London traffic. They get home, and they probably get home, turn the TV on, and it's 6-0. And they're
thinking, I've missed nothing.
Yeah, I'm glad I left when I did.
I don't
blame them at all. I don't blame them at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, the West Ham players mainly for the performance that they put in.
No, I agree with that. I feel like I should start writing down my MVPs because when stuff happens, I think, oh yeah, man, like as a rookie. And then I always forget when the time comes.
But yeah, that's it from us. Thank you guys for listening. As per, we'll be back next week with another episode. Hopefully, maybe some twists and turns in the title race. I know Liverpool go to Brentford.
Yes, sir.
Saturday 12:30. And yeah, me and Michael will be here churning out the content. If you have made it to the end, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, turn notification bell on, all of that. And yeah, thank you guys for listening, and peace.
One love.